And we're gonna the background for this tea time is an excellent one. It's gonna be Snowcrow's Nico doing Mesmer DPS rotations by the looks of this.
Ooh.
I think. Yeah.
Nice.
It's good. Yeah. So and he's probably gonna be at that for hours. The entire time.
You gotta do that to make $400 in PvE.
Exactly. Yeah. There's no tournaments to sell.
Opportunities are limited.
Yeah. You have to sell benchmarks instead of tournaments. So you got to do what you got to do, man. Everyone needs that cash. Yes. But there we go. We are now live. I think. Pretty sure anyway. Yes, I see myself. I see myself.
I see you too, Teapot.
Okay. Well, yeah, but that's because we're in Skype, so.
And we're not all inks this. Oh, yeah.
No, well, yeah. There's no even ink. There's no inks at all, though, and there's no boots. Sad. In fact, all of these people are complete strangers.
Strangers.
Yes.
Stranger danger.
Yeah. And chat will be scared. Like, who are these strange people? Where's our friendly Brazil? Where's Inks? Where's Boots? Well, none of them here, okay? None of them here.
And Shadownin, right?
Yeah, and Shadownin. No Shadownin. Instead, we have worthy replacements here with us today. You know, representing World versus World balance. We have Roy representing.
Yeah,
PvP.
I play Lowest World a lot.
We have Angeels, and representing PvE, we have Nike. We got it all, boys. Okay, for a balanced tea time, for a balanced patch, guys.
Feels amazing, man.
Yes, we got full representation.
I think we should put balanced patch in quotations, though.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. Honestly, okay, fine. Let's just get started. Roy, lay it down then. Why would you say something?
Oh, I was just joking.
I mean, let's be real here. Nothing really changed. Did any of the metas actually change? No.
No.
No, because they didn't. It wasn't a lot of balancing. That's why. Majority of it was reworking Deadeye, and then, yeah.
I mean,
underwater.
Yeah,
they were clearly.
The payoff is going to be so good. It has to be. Like the content, the underwater content that's coming has got to be so good. Or else there's no payoff, and we were completely bamboozled. Like,
I mean, it's not the first underwater balance patch they're doing.
It could happen, man. I mean, yeah, it could be a big troll.
I don't think there's ever been any content that's been released in this game that wasn't a great payoff, though. So I think you're wrong.
Yeah. Do you think? Well, I mean, yeah. Just as a kind of side note, do you think that indicates that there might be underwater content in the next?
Yes.
Living story patch.
Well, yeah. I don't know why else they would be reworking it. I mean,
it would be a bit weird.
I don't think.
Right?
I mean, maybe I was blind to it, but I don't remember there being a huge uproar on like forums and stuff for underwater changes, right? Without underwater content. So I mean, yes, Revenant's got more stuff underwater, but like again, who cares? Until there's underwater content, it's irrelevant.
Yes.
Yeah. There's definitely more stuff coming. They spent a lot of time. They added a whole new weapon to Revenant. Like, you know, they've clearly they wouldn't invest that kind of time into it unless they were going to do something with it.
I'm kind of frustrated by the stuff they didn't add or fix.
Yeah.
Like chrono wells don't work underwater. Druid glyphs don't work underwater. It's like these are kind of big things that, like, if there's, God forbid, an underwater raid boss and you can't use chrono wells or druid glyphs, that's it. I mean, that's gonna be bad news.
Yeah, it's certainly a very interesting omen of things to come. But I mean, yeah, I think it will just be some casual content. I can't even imagine. Okay, so raids are pretty buggy as it stands, right? Like, imagine if they had to deal with underwater as well, right? Just consider that.
The 3D movement.
So you're saying you don't want an underwater raid?
I don't want an underwater raid. No, I don't think so. I don't think it's a particularly good idea. I think the bosses get confused enough with just two dimensions to move.
Maybe like a spirit run, where you like go from one land boss underwater and fight some trash mobs, and then come back up for the next.
Do you guys think this is related to a rework of the underwater fractal?
That seems more likely.
Well, I don't think they would do all of this just for the underwater fractal, would they?
I don't know. Like, if it's a good rework, then it may well be worthwhile for them, right? You know, they like the balance patches as a whole, right? They've started bundling in these reworks. Like, we had the Phantasm rework, the Deadeye rework, and I guess the partial Underwater rework. So it's Wouldn't be surprising if their agenda was to work on underwater for this one.
I just hope that we see more hot fixes coming out, like we saw with the Signet of the other, like 2 weeks prior to this balance patch, because I don't think this balance patch really addressed that much stuff. Because again, it was mostly focused on the underwater changes, and that's fine, but it just didn't really balance anything. Like I'd say 90% of the balance changes were either underwater stuff or they were unsplitting or sort of catching up the PvE skills that have been split in the previous balance patch to the PvP and Wilderness World aspects, and it didn't really balance anything. So I'm hoping that we're going to see more hotfixes, because Chrono is still pretty overpowered, which was obviously what the Chrono Phantasm nerf was aimed at, and the Signet of Ether nerf as well. And so and there's a lot of other stuff that I think probably needs some balancing. So hopefully we'll see more of that.
The balance patch
I don't think waiting another 2 months for a balance patch is really ideal.
Yeah, it was more of a balanced step in the right direction, really. I think all the changes were moving in the right direction. I think that's pretty fair to say. But the thing is, they didn't really do enough. Right? They did try and tone down some, chrono in PvP. Didn't really work, But they need to do a lot more than that. They also kind of nerfed quite a bunch of stuff as well. Like Warrior got the boot again. Feels bad, man. And I guess Druid Druid already something that didn't really have it coming. They just bopped it like.
But Iboga is OP now, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
I've seen a bunch of memes on the Reddit about it.
Yeah. Well, about that that is because the auto attack on it was bugged ever since Path of Fire launch, and they just now fixed it. It's you know how old Illusionary Warlock worked, whereas the Phantasm would do more damage based on how many conditions. Like that's how it was. Right.
I'm pretty sure it's not working properly. I still think someone missed a decimal point. Like
it does so much damage.
Yeah, it does 300% more damage than the next.
How much DPS is the Iboga by itself?
6,000 or something.
Wow. Okay, so that's a major step up.
Yeah, considering the next best pet's 2,000, like it's insane.
But with regards to the balance patch in general, I think we see in PvE we see some pretty good changes. I mean, in all the game modes we see some pretty good. I guess World vs. World kind of gets ignored again, but in PvE and PvP, like it kind of shuffles in the right direction. I mean, we see they're trying to nerf Druid and nerf the passive bonuses, like the 150 power is 100 power now.
They really got
Druid was nerfed game modes. I don't think Druid needed to be nerfed really.
Well, in PvE it did. In PvP, I wouldn't say so.
Oh,
but,
sure.
I know in PvP it got completely gutted.
Yeah, it got ruined.
Like it's completely out of the meta.
It got punished. It got punished.
It's bad, man.
But in PvE, we see them trying to make other supports viable, and this was kind of a theme as well because they created Heal Scrapper in PvP at the same time, right? And I think that's something that we've really needed for a while. Ever since Path of Fire came out, we've had a completely Firebrand dominated metagame where the only support you would really play is Firebrand, and there's been no competitor to that slot at all, which I think that is a bit of a problem, right? And I think it's really good that they're trying to bring that in, and they're doing the same in PvE as well. They're trying to make it so Druid is less powerful, and also that they're trying to decompress the roles as well. So they changed with the Lingering Light change, which was across all game modes. They made it so that if you want to stack Might on your Druid, you can't heal as well, because they've nerfed the healing by about 30% across the board on Druid, which is pretty brutal, honestly. It's pretty strong. That's a pretty harsh nerf. But with those changes, that they're trying to make it so you have to make a decision. So you can be a healer Druid or a buffer Druid. And in addition to that, they nerfed the spirits as well. So the spirits do less damage, so the buffs are not quite as strong as well. Not by a huge amount, but still it's something, right? It's something. But I think we're not the entire way there. It kind of seems like half a balance patch almost, like, because even though the Druid buffs are they're worse, they're still the only buffs you can really get on a support class, right? Because it turns out that you still want the Druid because your healer might heal a lot, but it doesn't give any buffs. You heal
It's
Rev.
the same with Scrapper. Like it doesn't bring anything else.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's not quite on Firebrand for PvP as well, right? But it's it's not bad, right? It's a good start, I think. Yeah, exactly. The trouble is that all these support classes, particularly in PvE, they only usually have healing, and they don't have much additional utility outside of that. But Yeah. So I don't know.
And like even Firebrand in PvE has a shit ton of utility. Just it's kind of redundant with what other stuff already does. So even though it does
Is that why
literally
you don't use
everything,
Firebrand?
yeah, because it gives quickness, which is great, but we already have it. It gives stability on command, but we pretty much already have it. And I mean, it gives you can stack might with it, you can heal with it, you can get fury, you can get like any boon you want, but we already have 9 boons permanently on all our characters, so there's no like
and a big
need
problem
for boon support. Yeah,
big problem with that comes from Chronomancer, like across all game modes. Like
yeah.
Chrono is just over the top, really is. I'm sure it's more convenient. Like I think everyone would say that it's a bit easier to just have a Chronomancer give the boons, but it's not proper balance, really, is it?
Yeah, well, yeah. When you have something that's pretty much completely irreplaceable, I mean, and it's not strictly irreplaceable, right? But the thing is, I mean, you'd kind of be a fool. You'd be a fool to replace it.
It's just inefficient, like completely inefficient to replace it.
Yeah. The fact that you can have all of these roles on one character is where you have the problem, right?
Yeah.
That's,
I mean, I don't unless we have 10-man Chrono raids and 5-man Chrono PvP teams. I don't think, and 15-man Chrono GVG. I'm not happy. Chrono needs buffs.
We're getting there.
Yeah, we're getting there. I mean, we saw a 5 Chrono PV, 5 Mesmer.
Well, it was 5
PvP
Mesmer. It wasn't 5 Chrono.
It should have been.
They
5
lost
Chrono.
pretty horribly.
They did lose,
which felt good.
Yeah. I think. I mean, yeah. And whilst it isn't, I guess it's not strictly a massive problem. The way it is, as you say, it's not like everyone's running only Mesmers in these raids or any game mode. Yeah, I know, but it's a legitimate thing to consider, right? It's not a horrific problem, right? That this class is so good, you always want it, right? But it would be nice to have some variation, right? It would be nice to be able to say, you know what, you can play this without like screwing yourself over too much, right? It doesn't have to be optimal. I'm fine with Mesmer Druid being optimal. If it's the case that Mesmer and Druid are always going to be optimal, that's fine. But the thing is that you sacrifice so much and you have to commit to going another direction so much that it's just it's not really rewarding you for being creative, being an innovative player. It just punishes you.
I think it's a little bit more of an issue in like the more competitive modes because you want the players that can play this class right really well, and you won't take players that can't, and so it sort of excludes some people because let's say I'm a Guardian main and he's a Chrono main, and you only want a Chrono because it's the only role or it's the only class that can fill that role, or it's the best one. Then you'll never have room for anything else, and I think if there's more variety, then it's better because then you can have people that are playing this one class for 5 years that actually have a use for it. So like the people who have been playing Ranger since release now can't play PvP. It's like et cetera, et cetera. But I'm not saying PvE obviously it's sort of the same, but at the same time I think like it's a little bit less competitive, right? For those spots. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter, but it doesn't really matter what you play in PvE as such, right? But it's still a Go ahead, Nike.
Yeah, I was gonna say like there's like a big thing now because people like specialize in PvE as well. It's more like I play DPS, I play like Chrono support, or I play Druid or whatever. And the DPS players, like 95% of the ones at the high-end guilds all are Weaver mains or Ellie mains because they've just been the top for 4 years. And then you have like whenever another profession comes close to that, like Scourge or sometimes Hollow or whatever, you just have a certain percentage of those Weaver mains that don't want to adjust to playing anything else.
Oh,
and you run into issues where it's like, well, we can either just not play Scourge and not have the best team comp possible, or we can just play Scourge poorly, or just put the time into learning it, and people don't want to put the time into learning it by and large. People would rather just post on the forums asking for nerfs. That's easier.
Yeah.
That's classic online game. That's how you play these online games. That you have to complain about it. And what are you going to do unless you're not going to complain about the game's balance, man?
Yeah. Well, you have to like other games have fishing. That's what people do. It seems.
Well, they complain about the lack of fishing on the
Yeah,
port.
exactly,
Right?
yeah.
Well, we just got an underwater patch, so maybe fishing is next.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
Oh,
Grab
Yeah.
a fish.
Yeah, that could
Deep
happen.
Deep sea fishing, boys. Let's go.
Yeah.
sea diving, dude.
We
Yo.
could have some fishing. We could definitely get
Revenant
fishing.
now has spear for spear fishing. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
Oh no, I guess Rev
they,
always
got
said spear,
Trident.
right?
They got Trident.
Trident.
Yeah,
Yeah, they got Trident. Yeah.
They have
If
Trident.
that fishing event in the new map was any indication, I think they're pretty far away from this
man.
working bug free.
Wait, they had a fishing event?
Yeah, and it was like needed for the backpack, and it was bugged
Oh my
for like
goodness, okay.
a week
Okay.
or two, and it was a big nightmare.
Well, there you go.
Now it works, I guess.
They've patched it in, and now it's going to be in the new map. It's going to be a fishing themed map next time. You know, that'll be great. It'll be great. Yeah, I mean, I have to confess, guys. Right, I'm just going to admit this live on stream. In the previous tea time, I said we would have a massive balance patch with major changes, and that Heal Ellie was going to be good.
Yeah.
I was very fucking wrong. I was really excited. I was like, oh guys, this balance patch is going to be crazy. It's going to be awesome. And then it was barely even a balance patch.
It doesn't really feel like it changed anything at all, which is
It's just in general. This is a problem with ArenaNet balance patches. It never changes anything.
Well, no, I don't think it's completely true, because I mean they did a lot if you think about like all of what they did for the the patch, because obviously it affected a ton of skills, because of how many underwater skills, but at the moment it doesn't really matter, because again there's no underwater content, so it really didn't do anything. I would have preferred to have them roll these underwater changes out when they rolled underwater content out. Not that I'm like begging for underwater content, but it's just at the moment it's just not really relevant. So it doesn't really feel like that patch really changed the game in any way at the moment. It didn't, I didn't start doing something differently. It doesn't really seem like anyone else did. I mean, I guess you could go dive for a key once a day, but like, oh boy, it's not really a lot.
You got to do that 100 days, man, to get all that achievement points.
Yeah.
And their time gates, boys.
Yeah, 100 days feels good, man.
I'm sorry. No underwater content, excuse me. Under the Waves has 2 pass that has underwater boss.
Yeah.
It's my bad. Just think how fast this Funny or whatever the hell they're called are going down. The Coden.
I can't wait. I'm gonna go do it.
Yeah.
I did P2 the other night.
Yeah?
The other night.
How much better was it?
It felt the exact same.
I mean, darn.
I mean,
well, never mind then.
Yeah.
Rip.
Yeah. Well, the biggest change, though, you know what the biggest change was, boys? You know what the biggest drama was, boys? The meteor shower nerf. Ellie was touched.
Yeah, right.
Elementalist was touched by ArenaNet's greasy fingers. And all the Ellie mains are very, very upset now that their precious class has been damaged. I mean, I don't know. I think it was a very weird way to do the nerf. But I don't know. I guess it kind of had it coming. I mean, Ellie Meteor Shower has had it coming. I guess staff in general has got it coming. But I don't know. Poor old Ellie.
Yeah, technically it's better for World versus
Yeah,
World.
exactly.
So.
Yeah.
Because Ellie in general needs nerfs. Okay, I think anyone who's not a bit delusional can understand that.
Are you talking? What are you just talking? Are you talking about in the game? Or are you talking about PvE?
In PvE, because in PvP, well, a couple of nerfs for sword, but apart from that, nothing. Okay.
I don't really think it's too strong. It's definitely not too strong in PvP, and I don't think it's too strong in World vs World, because it's an extremely high reward.
Yeah, like World v World Staff Ellie, okay, is what Ellie should be in every game modes. It's very high risk, but it has a very high reward. Yeah. But PvE completely nullifies that, because you can be perma 100% healed, and you can sit there with every boon on the game, meaning you don't get CC'd ever. So it's completely irrelevant.
How is it better for World vs. Well, it wasn't exactly better for World vs. World, but you pretty much always canceled Meteor early, I think, is the idea. And so, it doesn't really change it.
No, isn't it damage reduction per target, though? So surely, because it hits harder at the start.
Only on PvE mobs. Only in PvE. Okay, so in players, it makes no difference.
But then the initial hits are going to do more damage anyway, because they buff the initial damage, so it is better then, right? It's good.
Yeah,
it's just
exactly.
it's 23% more damage or something. Right? 20%
the first hit on each player does 23% damage.
Yeah, so there you go.
There's no damage reduction in PvP.
And you're probably not going to hit people with someone told me that you have to hit someone with 3 meteors before it goes back to the normal damage, and you're probably not going to hit people with 3 meteors, right? In World versus World, or I don't know. That would be pretty unlikely, I think. You'd have to get really unlucky to get hit by 3 meteors in a row, I think.
Yeah, no, it doesn't happen a lot.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you stand still inside of a meteor shower, there's a chance it'll happen. So don't do that.
No, no, guys, canceling meteor shower is not always bad in War vs. World, right? Because you can,
Yeah, in
I don't think
PvP,
canceling skills is a bad thing.
no,
I
it's
think
not,
that's
right? It's not.
especially
I think-
especially skill like what Meteor Shower and PvP and World v World, because you only want to do so like
You
there are
already,
situations
yeah.
where you don't want to risk.
Well, you
Okay.
sometimes already cancel Meteor Shower
Yeah.
and War vs. World anyway. But there was not because it's a DPS loss. It isn't a DPS loss, by the way, boys. Okay, fake news. Okay, fake news.
because you don't want to die,
Exactly, because you don't want to end up dead. You know?
which actually is a DPS loss. So you're wrong.
Yes, exactly, and you know, dead DPS is no DPS, guys. Okay, no DPS at all. But yeah, I don't know. I think the nerf is kind of weird. Like, I'm not sure I like the design. It feels kind of bad when a meteor is doing 2k damage in PvE, like less than a water auto attack. But I mean, I guess however it goes, boys. I mean, Ellie is still the best on big hitbox at least. I find it odd that they specifically targeted the nerf at big hitbox, whereas I think they probably.
Well, that's where the biggest outlier was compared to other builds. Like Ellie, like on small hitbox, was slightly better than everything else, but on
Is it
big
really
hitbox,
bad
it
on
was
small
like
now?
light years. No, it's still the best.
Oh,
Like,
so then
but
why
it's
are
close.
people upset? Like, who cares? It's still the best
Yeah.
DPS.
They don't like the feel. They don't like the feel.
Yeah.
They don't like the 2k meteors, dude.
I mean, the history of ArenaNet nerfing Ellie has been like fucking with the cooldowns to making it really unfun to play. So I think like
but I
if
don't-
that
this
was like
doesn't really
option B, this is way better than that. So
Yeah.
like
I mean,
if that was the
if
other
it's
choice.
still top DPS. Like, I would understand if people are upset if it like halved your DPS or something, or made your DPS like 10k from 50k. But like, this isn't that bad, right? If it just means that other stuff can now be more competitive, it's even better. It's probably
Yeah, on
a
small
good-
hitbox there's other stuff that's competitive, but it's still the best on big by quite a bit. But the gap is way smaller. Like
So stop crying then. That's what I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Basically.
All you Ellie
would
mains.
I would definitely say it's not worth crying over. I mean, you can argue over how it was done, but I mean, it's not
Yeah,
really
yeah.
a big deal. I mean, Ellie is still a really, really strong class, and it probably always will be. Realistically, they're probably not going to dethrone it. For isn't going to get dethroned, I don't think.
Oh,
Not for a while.
Yeah.
apparently this is a recorded stream.
Yeah, it's pre-recorded.
Put a shoe on your head.
I haven't got
Can
shoes.
confirm.
I don't have any shoes.
Oh?
I
Yeah.
have socks on.
I don't wear shoes. That's
Yeah, I got no
Pretty
shoes
casual.
either. Oh, okay.
Well, I
okay.
mean,
Oh,
they're upside.
there we
Oh!
go, boys.
Not pre-recorded. Get fucked.
Boom.
so.
Oh yeah.
And one thing too is people are like, oh, why did they nerf like a core Ellie thing rather than just nerfing Weaver when Weaver was the problem? And the reason they did that was because if you nerf the Weaver traits, then if they want to buff Sword Weaver later, then they have to like mega buff it. Like if you nerf Weaver by 25%, that means later when you want Sword to be good, you have to buff it by like 50% to make it relevant again. So you can't. So
Isn't that
it
okay,
only
though?
made sense.
Why would that not be okay?
Well, because where are you going to put the power into the kit? Because if you make the sword attack skills themselves too good, then it becomes like OP in PvP. Because you can just one-shot people like super easy. So you have to have the power in the kit be like spread evenly throughout the kit and require a trait investment to be good.
Well,
If you don't put,
you could still
because
balance.
no one
it,
takes
right?
percent damage traits in PvP. Nobody does that. So it's safe to put the power, the PvE power, in those kind of traits, since people don't take them in PvP.
Yeah. I mean, I
So-
suppose. Hey, go ahead, Roy. Where you
I
go?
was gonna say, obviously, we don't have a lot to speak about with the balance patch, right? Because there's just like it was a lack of stuff. So like, I guess the question is, you said before you don't want to raid for underwater, right? And you wouldn't. I guess you wouldn't want an underwater fractal, right? Or another one. Since I already have
Honestly,
one. Or would you-
I wouldn't mind it. If the next fractal was underwater, and we are expecting a new one soon, I wouldn't really mind it that much.
If it was good, I don't think anyone would complain.
But
Yeah.
so what else? What else could they be doing? I mean, I guess Living Story is obvious, right? They could be sending us to the Deep Sea Dragon now or whatever. Although I don't know if that really matched. I haven't played the most recent Living Story, so I don't know if that makes sense or not.
We're chasing after
but-
Joko right now. Ooh.
Oh,
oh
okay.
my
So,
god.
I guess Joko's gonna put his water breather on or whatever, and then go, looking for dragons or something. So maybe we'll chase in there. But like, what else could they be doing? I mean, is there like the chance that we're gonna see an underwater dungeon? They're gonna put dungeons back. another like a PvP map or something? I mean, what?
Well,
what's your-
ArenaNet
or,
then
you know.
said no PvP maps underwater at this time.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. We know we're getting a story patch. That's probably happening. Probably within May, right? I would say it's going to hit within
I'd expect the trailer on Tuesday.
I think that's a good guess.
The
I'd
next
say that's a
living
good
story?
guess. Yeah.
What's his face? That shaman said the next patch is the 22nd, but what that is, he doesn't know.
So I would say
hopefully it's content because, well,
I would definitely say there's going to be a trailer coming up on Tuesday. I think that's a very good guess. Right? And then the question is what's going to come with it, right? And is it going to be a raid? At this point, I'm hesitant to say yes. I would probably say no.
It has to be a raid.
It has to be a triple release.
Do you think
if it's not a raid,
living story fractal raid, is it?
Yeah. I mean, I was going to say it was going to be a triple release, but then I actually called that the balance patch was going to be the fattest balance patch ever, right? So I don't know. I'm not sure if
I'd be very surprised if it wasn't a triple release. I'd also be surprised if it wasn't like actually a quadruple release and there wasn't PvP, PvP related in there.
Yeah. So between Wing 4 and Wing 5 was 9 months. If there isn't a raid this patch, that means Wing 5 and Wing 6 is also a 9-month gap. And the fact is that they said they were going to try to get the raid a little faster than that, so it would be a humongous fail, like beyond bad for them not to have a raid in this patch.
I guess the sort of what I was getting at is like we can pretty much assume that all of these underwater changes are relevant for World vs. World and PvP, right? Because Ben literally just said there's not going to be a PvP, right? I'd be extremely surprised if they added an underwater borderland. I can't see them doing that. That would be kind of hilarious. I don't know that it probably would be bad, but I don't see them doing that. Especially considering they're, I think mostly focused on the alliances. I think making a new map would be way too resource extensive. So really just like the new living story and possibly a fractal or something, or maybe a raid, but which is, I mean, I don't know. Again, it's just kind of a little bit disappointing that they essentially made this entire balance patch focus on underwater content and it's all going to be for PvE.
Yeah, I think you'll only see it probably in the casual side of when I say casual side, I mean open world. Right? I think you'll see the underwater in exclusively open world. I would say actually. But I mean the real.
I think the frustration more comes from the fact that the fixes in PvP didn't actually fix many of the issues. Right, Chrono is still a thing. Various other things are still absolutely horrible.
Druid got cucked and it didn't need to be.
Yeah, like it's...
Ellie is still basically irrelevant. Yeah. Necro is still definitely way too strong. I don't think that Scrapper as a support class is going to replace Firebrand. I'd be very surprised if it did.
Well, I mean, the Scrapper and Firebrand thing, like, the Scrapper is like a big step in the right direction. It's obvious, and I don't think you can necessarily make it perfect, make it equal in one patch. But certainly Scourge is still very strong. Firebrand is still way too strong as a support. Condi Thief is still a thing. Chrono is still a thing. It's all of these things, they still exist. And I think there's been a huge amount of feedback over it, but we've not really seen anything come of it. And that's the frustrating thing. I think if all that stuff had been fixed alongside the underwater thing, no one would be complaining.
Oh no, of course not. Again, I mean, I've said this multiple times. It's just we didn't get anything besides the underwater stuff. So essentially, we didn't get anything.
Yeah.
And the Deadeye rework, but
I don't. From what I'm hearing, Deadeye rework actually made the class worse.
Well, to be honest with you, I could care less. If they deleted it, that would have been the best thing, in my opinion. But
I think there's some functionality problems with it. Like the stealth on the trait applies at the start of the dodge, not the end. With regards to the Deadeye, which is from the new rifle trait, which is a bit of a problem. But yeah, as I understand it, it's a bit worse than it is now. Ben asked a very interesting question though. Like, do you guys think that? I mean, I would say no to this question immediately.
Underwater's balance.
Is underwater balance of PvP?
No way.
I doubt it. I'm sure it's not. But I mean, how would we even know? Because
there's too many things you can't use. Like the fact that you can't use the glint heal underwater means that Rev is unplayable in PvP underwater.
Rev is
I'm not saying river's
I
good
think-
now and a good necessarily
Hey,
on land,
actually,
but
if-
underwater
if-
it's like even worse.
One thing I would say that would be kind of cool is that you'd see very different comps because Ranger's
certainly
very
would.
strong underwater.
Dude,
Well,
Ellie,
Ranger
dude,
is strong.
fucking
Ranger is
Ellie,
strong
man.
underwater for different reasons, though. Like
I know, but
underwater
it's
downscape is actually impossible to kill.
I know. I was once like 3v1ing a dead Ranger underwater, and he rezzed himself 3 times.
It's
And like, it was insane. But like, it's just, it would be interesting to see that, but I'm pretty sure it would be awful. Like, people would just AFK if you got into that map. I mean, I don't know. It's not necessarily just about the balance either. I think most players just don't enjoy playing underwater. But I think that was sort of part of this patch was aimed at, they said they were trying to make it more enjoyable for people to play underwater. So, I mean, if that did that, maybe people would want underwater, like PvP in World vs. World. I mean, I know underwater World vs. World has been a huge meme because you can actually fight underwater in World vs. World. It's been a meme for years, and I think most people wouldn't want it. So an entire map centered around it would probably be a mistake.
There are certainly massive functional problems with underwater combat, right? The movement is very slow. Like it feels very clunky as a result. A lot of skills, they have this weird thing where you activate them once and then you have to like detonate them. And that's kind of it'd be better if everything was just targeted, or was just AoE or PB AoE. If they made those sorts of changes, then underwater combat would feel a lot more fluid. It wouldn't be as dynamic as combat above ground, but it would be a massive improvement overall.
Well, what Frosty said about, I mean, no one is playing underwater combat now, but no one did before either. And I don't think that anyone was asking for underwater combat, right? So like, I don't.
Yeah.
If they started to sort of try and make underwater combat a thing, then more people would try it. But this patch wasn't really. I don't know. It's kind of weird to say. I'm just saying I don't really think balance is relevant because I don't think people want underwater combat anyways.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I mean, even if they use their magic powers to perfectly balance underwater combat, there's still nowhere where it would really happen.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why at the start of the stream, boys, we are predicting that there's going to be some kind of underwater combat coming. And in my personal opinion, this is just me, boys, but I think that underwater should probably just be confined to PvE. I think that's probably the best place where it's going to work.
Yeah, it is the best place.
I think that's the place where it can work. And honestly, you know what? I'm going, underwater raids, right? But honestly, I'd be open-minded to it. I would, if they did something like that, I would obviously go into it with an open mind and give it my best shot and see if it was good, see if it was fun to play.
I think it would be cool just because it would be different, but I think eventually it would get like people would just hate it. So
yeah, I mean it would either be something that people go, oh my goodness, ArenaNet are just brilliant, just genius, or it would be ArenaNet, what the fuck is this shit, right? The other
thing to consider, I mean, I personally think, and I think a lot of people do as well, like all the underwater areas are really good looking. Like they look really cool, which is nice, like. I mean, I think that, the design, from a design standpoint, I think they're really nice for the most part. But I mean, that's just one thing, it's like, it's kind of nice, but yeah, I don't see it happening. I think something else in regards to the sort of like the PvE upcoming changes, do you think they're going to add a new mount that you can ride underwater?
I somehow doubt it with the skimmer.
But you can't use it underwater.
Here's the thing, though.
Yeah.
I mean, so typically with a new map, you have a new mastery, and we have our new mastery thingy, right? But it's to do with Aurene, so maybe there's something to do with Aurene underwater, right? Just as a kind of side meme. So, yeah.
Can dragons breathe underwater?
Who says they can't?
Exactly.
They're magic.
Yeah. So
you got bubbles.
So I think there will
that's
be.
the one.
There's almost certainly going to be some kind of mastery that interacts with underwater, I would say, if we're going to get an underwater map, right?
And also they added the speed infusions, but I mean, how fast do those make you? Like, do those make you as fast as riding a skimmer does? Because if so, then I don't think they would have to add a new mount. But someone did point out, though, yes, if they add a new mount, it means more mount skins, which is more money. So
I don't think we'll see an entirely new mount, and the reason behind that is because I think it's probably not a trivial thing to add. It's definitely not a trivial thing to add, right? And create. So I don't think we're going to see that.
Yeah. Just also in general, like how many people would genuinely buy a underwater mount skin for one map? Like it's
A lot of people would. I mean, think how many people buy mount skins now. Like, of course they'd buy it.
Yeah, but you can use them everywhere. But for a mount you can
matter.
only use
First off,
underwater.
they're probably going to make more than just one map. I'd be very surprised if they kept it to one, especially if people liked it. And there would definitely be people that bought mount skins, 100%. 100%.
Yeah, I mean, of course. I mean, people love those mount skins, man. You know what? This is some of the stats got released for the kind of on a bit of a side meme. Some of the numbers, like the financial stuff, got released. It turns out that this is like it's going amazingly for Guild Wars 2 right now or something. It's like it's like one of the best quarters ever or something like that. And she was like, "Whoa, dude." Those mount skins, they're mount skins, damn guys. I mean,
people on Reddit claimed they weren't buying them, but they were.
Yeah, they were, dude.
I'm boycotting them. I'm never buying gems again. No, but you were.
Yeah.
I will fully admit I've never bought Black Lion keys before. Okay, but this Black Lion key I bought 25.
Yeah, actually,
it was a good key.
Yeah.
I actually was quite impressed.
The new Jackal mount sucks. All right, I'm gonna piss off people. It's fuck leaves.
We need to talk about this Black Lion key actually, because this is a very interesting. We're kind of going to we'll go back to balance in a little bit, boys. Okay, and underwater. But this is a really interesting development actually with regards to the Black Lion key. It's amazingly pro-consumer. I mean, obviously you think of Black Lion key, you think loot box. Okay, guys.
Yeah.
And that is. We hate our customers basically, and we just want to drain them. But no, in fact, what they've done is they put good stuff, and they've put all the stuff you can kind of buy for gems in the chest.
Oh yeah, no, I like
impressive.
that. It's pretty good for sure.
Yeah, and it
was a good
really
thing.
Awesome,
if it was a good mount skin, then I would think it was a really cool idea.
And that's a 2K gem mount skin,
tails.
right? And that's in there, and it only took me about 100 keys to get.
Well, so
not just the mount skin though, but
the
also
gloves as well. Yeah,
the gloves are pretty good as well.
Yeah.
But I think they've added. That's not really new.
That's not a new thing. Yeah,
the skin. Yeah, no, the mount skin's really the new thing.
Okay.
So you could say like, oh, it's cool they're giving you another way to get it, but on the other side, it sort of incentivizes that gambling, right? Which, and I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing, because obviously it's your choice to buy Black Lion skins or Black Lion keys. Like it's they're not forcing you to do it, and you can obviously just buy the mount skin outright if you want, but. It's sort of like, oh, but now I'm just sort of playing devil's advocate there. They're incentivizing the gambling.
That is a fair point, right? That is a fair point. But I think it's still a good thing, because I think Black Lion keys for a very long time have been this bait, right? Like and then you get punished.
I mean,
really
there's still
hard.
a bait, but I mean, how many keys did it take you to get? You didn't even get the Jackal skin from a regular key. It took you one of the golden.
Yeah, I got a gold. Yeah, I opened 100 keys. I opened 100 keys, and from one of those 100 keys, I got 3 golden ones, and in the golden ones, I got that. But honestly,
you might have just got.
So in 100 keys costs about 2.5k gold, I think, right? Which is absolutely insane when you think about it. It's terrifying.
Yeah, it was.
Right?
Well, I sent you 150, and it was like $140 or something like that. So that's because I bought gems.
But
I didn't.
But anyway, right? So. In terms of actual gold profit, as in terms of actual account value, I think I actually made profit in that. I mean,
because of the skins you unlocked.
Yeah, because of the skins I unlocked. So I was like, oh, okay, all right, that's not bad actually.
There is the chance that you just get literally trash. All of them.
And as we discovered, you sent me another 50 keys or something like that, and the 50 keys after I unlocked all the good stuff were just completely worthless. That was pretty sad actually.
Just them out.
Oh god, yeah, those hurt. I have to say that was So guys, just a little advice here: do not open keys after you've unlocked everything you want. All right, because save them. Resist the urge. Don't do it. You're gonna get punished really hard. But yeah, really, really nice key actually, as a bit of a sidetrack meme.
I would love if they kept updating stuff like that. I mean, it was definitely a cool little thing. Nothing. Again, it's not something game changing, but it's certainly a nice thing.
Yeah, definitely.
When does the PvP season end?
May 29th, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, May 29th.
And then how much downtime is there between that and the next season?
Well, there's been a lot less. It's usually only like 3 or 4 weeks, I think.
Yeah.
So we can probably expect a PvP centric balance patch.
No, I don't think so. I
think so, and here's why. Because it's pretty obvious to me that there's 2 balance teams Like the PvP team has like it's from just like looking at the forum posts. There's different people, different devs that are that seem to be in charge of the PvP balance than like the PvE balance, like or PvP specific balance. So I think that if you have the team that just did this underwater thing is not the same people that did the PvP stuff last time.
So what you're telling me is there's a world versus world balance team, a PvP balance team, a PvE balance team, and now an underwater balance team. There's 4 different balance teams, Nike.
I think the underwater
team we're gonna have
be...
air combat balance teams. This is out of control.
We're gonna have siege turtle combat balance teams.
Mounted combat, boys.
Siege turtle combat.
Yeah, that's what that's.
I wish we'd have a World Siege balance team. That'd be great, wouldn't it?
Oh, just delete arrow cards. There you go. There's a balance team.
I don't really think that like. I mean, how many balance patches? You know, because again, in the past year, we've had what 4 maybe or something.
No,
maybe
it's like
more. I mean, there's been like a few minor ones, right? Like, but like the big ones, there's probably been 3 or 4, and like those have been several months apart. And they've all sort of had, they've all had PvE, PvP, and World vs. World aspects.
Right.
If more PvE. So I don't really see them having like they sent this balance patch out, which was again like pretty much all underwater focused, and I don't see them like in 2 weeks doing a huge PvP balance. I mean, again, I'm hoping they do some sort of like hot fix things again for certain things, like they did with the Signet of Ether, which was obviously it had to be focused at PvP. I mean, it affected PvE, I suppose, but it definitely focused at PvP. And, if they do more stuff like that, more hot fixes for smaller stuff, then, I'll be happy. But
what they've done so far is they've had this like quarterly balance patch, and then in between, I think about a month or so in between, they've had this like more PvP orientated balance patch. At least they've done that twice now, right? They had the last one where they made all those changes, including the Phantasm rework, and then they had the one previous where they increased all the skill cooldowns for stuff like Scourge. So I think that's something like that isn't unlikely in the future. It's just a matter of when, right? Because PvP right now the balance is pretty bad, I'd say, especially for a couple of classes.
I don't think I think there's a few classes that are really either overpowered or underpowered, but I think for the most part, like it's not terrible because like I don't think the balance is that bad. I just think there's like some really big glaring issues with certain classes that need to be fixed, and and I think someone mentioned this before that like everything is sort of too strong in a way, and it comes down less to like personal skill level on a lot of things, and I agree with that, like, especially when it comes to combat. Like I feel like a lot of stuff is like like there's too many evades. You can spam evades, you can spam heals, all this. Like Firebrand, I've said this before. Like I don't like Firebrand as opposed to Core Guardian in regards to support role because Core Guardian you actually had to think about, and you never played it in PvP. I'm just talking about World vs. World now. You never played it, or you had to like think about your rotation. You actually had to use skills at certain times and like save them for later. With Firebrand, you can essentially just spam shit because you have your mantis, you have your totems, you just like press 111, and you think about it a lot less, and I don't like that. It's less intuitive and it relies less on you actually being good at your class.
Yeah, and I think that's I think the big power creep is definitely a big problem. I mean, everything, especially with regards to, I think with conditions as well, is a really big problem there. But also boons as well. People always complain about condies, right? This guy doesn't like condies. This guy I'm pointing to right now doesn't like condies. There's also a really big problem with boons, right? There's so much application.
Boons.
I mean, something like Firebrand, or even stuff like I don't know, stuff like the Scrapper build, right? Or even stuff like Prot Hollow, honestly, or Chrono, right? It's just like shits out boons constantly, right? And that's just not. Yeah, I don't know. That's not how the game was supposed to be. Like everything is very, very spammy. Yeah. Everything is just a complete fiesta, right?
It's particularly the case I feel also in PvE.
Absolutely.
Boons always used to be this thing where it used to require, it used to be impactful having them because they were difficult to get. Now you can just maintain perma 25 might in PvP. You can just run around. Chrono has insta 2-3 stacks of stab depending on how many shatters they use. They've got like engineer and Chrono and whatever has perma vigor. Like, how is this okay? Like perma.
And I know a lot of people have been like saying, "Oh, nerf chaos," but really, chaos won't do much because sure, chaos allows you to have like an average of 10 boons on your raid, but if you got rid of chaos, then you'd have like an average of 8 boons, sometimes 9. That's not that huge of a big. That's not that big of a difference from the days like One Up said in chat when like we had 5 boons as standard. Like,
well, they've also. I mean, they obviously have added some boons since then.
Yeah, alacrities
and resistance
there and resistance. So it's just like nerfing chaos at this point will slightly tone things down, but it won't go back to the way it was, where it was 5 boons.
Yeah.
It's gonna 8. Like it's gonna be 8 forever minimally.
Unless they look at their application, which I don't think they'll ever do because it's too big of a job.
Boon reapplication and Connie reapplication and then boon conversion and boon corruption is just too much.
I think also a lot of people are. I think this is specifically prevalent in PvE from some of the discussions I've had with people. They like it as it is, because it makes the game, more fun. With perma alacrity and perma quickness, you don't. It feels more fluid. And okay, fine, fair enough. But at the same time, it's not really okay to have it so easy.
I think it's like, I mean, maybe I'm wrong here, but I feel like part of it is that people sort of picking the game up right for the first time have a bit of an easier time playing in a way.
Yeah, that's fair.
Obviously, like if they 1v1 a really experienced player, they're going to lose no matter how easy the classes are to play. But like if you go into World vs. World now on Guardian or on Warrior, I mean, like you don't have to think as much, and in PvP and like normal ranked queues you might not have to think as much. I mean, as far as fights go, as far as rotations you definitely have to think, but
the interesting thing is I don't know, I think for World versus World actually I think this is going to sound kind of weird, but I actually think that the Path of Fire, the way World versus World goes in Path of Fire is it's quite unfriendly to new players actually. I think it's a lot more difficult than the HOT meta for sure actually.
Well,
I think something like Base Guard is a lot easier for new players to kind of figure out what to do. I think Firebrand actually kind of confuses people a bit.
It's also the way that the game mode is played. I think pushing as a group into another group is far more intuitive than sitting back and ranging until such a time.
That's less about the class, though, in my opinion.
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But the biggest reason people die in World vs. World when they're new is because of their positioning, and how they dodge. It's not because of how they play their class. The majority of people can play their class terribly and still survive pretty well and still do damage pretty well if they position themselves correctly and they dodge correctly. That's what it comes down to in regards to like big blob fights. So I don't really think that it's not as much to do with the class or not knowing the class. And so.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the case for sure. I mean, the way the game mode, the kind of the gameplay itself is a bit.
But it does weird. It does kind of link back together though, because the classes do define the meta, and if the meta requires that you position yourself correctly,
look at the meta in World versus World. It's
exactly.
It's Scourge, which is extremely spammy. It's Firebrand, which is extremely spammy, and it's Spellbreaker, which revolves around it using one skill.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think that takes a lot of knowledge, then you're wrong.
Well, what I mean is that going against it, positioning, you just die easily if you have no clue. It's unintuitive for a new player.
Yeah, and I don't think that's a bad thing. In fact, I kind of like how Path of Fire goes, really, but I think it is a little punishing for new players, really. I go, you just love melee. I mean, I love melee too, but I don't know. I kind of like
I like a variety. I like melee and range, but the problem is, I feel like melee is only a thing because of how strong Bubble is and how strong Firebrand is, and then range is only a thing because that's not necessarily a wrong thing. It's just stuff is just too strong. Fights are completely centered around Bubble still, after however many months. How it's been nerfed like once or twice, and it's still 100% focused around Bubble and around spamming your shades. Which it's boring.
I think the elephant in PvP and World versus World's room is big shade still. I think that's still a big problem in both those game modes, right? I think big shade has got to go, man. Actually, it's really funny, actually. Big shade is kind of like Path of Fire's Tempest, in my opinion, in PvE, right? So Tempest was supposed to be a support spec. for elementalists, and then it
That's
turned out it was like full meta DPS spec in PvE for basically the entire expansion, right? Even though it's supposed
only
to be,
because people cried. Because in the beta, the first beta weekend where we get to play Tempest, people were like, "This does less damage than base Ellie. Why the fuck would we play this?" And then it's like it's a support class, and they're like, "Fuck you!" And then they made it a power class. They made it like a DPS class. Like,
although it ended up being support.
and they did that with everything.
in some game modes, you could also play it as a support.
Yeah, I think
the trouble was
the real
that
problem
it
is
ended
just
up doing too
that
much damage.
elite specs, again, originally before Heart of Thorns came out, they were supposed to be an alternative to your class, not an upgrade, and they became an upgrade essentially.
Yeah.
I think actually a lot of people misinterpreted it. They kind of specifically said that elite specs compared with each other would not be direct upgrades.
Yeah. And I just think that's kind of unfortunate, I mean, it wasn't the case for every single class, but in a lot of cases, it's very clear that elite specs are way better than core classes, and then half the fire classes are way better.
This is true, but I think that they are trying to move away from that. Right?
Yeah,
I think they never intended it to be that way. I think they actually did intend it so that it would be an alternative, and I think that didn't work out because they probably got excited and like, oh my god, this is so cool. And I get that, right? You're a developer, you're creating this new class, basically a new way to play the special. Of course, you're going to give it some big numbers, right, and make it do some cool stuff, right? Compared to the old stuff. And I think they are moving back to that. We see this stuff emerging. We see stuff like Core Thief, Core Guard, right? Like this is kind of coming back. In a lot of in these game modes, like and even in PvE. In PvE, they're doing this quite deliberately. Now base guard is kind of a thing, right? Like base guard is the DPS. Yeah, base guard. You play base guard now for DPS.
Yeah, power creeped over DH.
Yeah, because DH is kind of trash.
Or DH, dude.
Yeah,
and a lot of that too is the
so
interaction
bad,
between
dude.
the virtues trait line, which gives you 1% per boon.
Yeah.
And Chaos Chrono, which spams boons, and the fact that Chaos Chrono spams Aegises, which goes really well with Unscathed Contender. Like just a lot of things like pushed it in the direction of taking virtues. And yes, you could take virtues. You could take virtues, DH, but like Zeal has now just gotten way better. So you really just want it all.
Mm. Yeah. But to go back to the Big Shade, there was a brief analogy that maybe got a little bit derailed. So Big Shade was always supposed to be the support, option, right? You take the Big Shade because and you can see the design choices, right? So it gives you 5 targets on the Shade and a bigger radius, and it was based around basically you can hit 10 people with it, just like a raid. In your World versus World group, you can get 10 people. In PvP, you can support your entire group, right? But it just turns out that having that is just ridiculous for killing people, and that's a really big problem.
Who would have thought?
Yeah, exactly.
And having the charges on it as well.
What a surprise. But wait, it's only one Scourge. It can only affect 10 people. Oh, well, let's just run 20 of them.
Well, there's the problem though. There's the problem as well. Like as Angeels said, like the issue is that it has a lower cooldown and a bigger radius, and 5 targets. Like that's where things get very difficult, right? And the way they increase the cooldown of the Little Shade means that Little Shade is just trash, right? It's only good in PvE.
I've literally never used Little Shade.
Yeah,
I don't think there's even any point to it. Like it's just so it's so bad in its conception, right?
All it gives you is more damage, really.
They honestly might not even need to
that's
make
what they
Little Shade better. They just need to make the other Grandmasters better than Big Shade.
They need to make it so Little Shade is the damage option and your Big Shade is the support option. Like it's so, I hate to say it's so easy, but it legitimately is so easy conceptually.
I think the way that it should be done, right, and call me a little crazy here, boys, but I really think they should reduce the cooldown of Little Shade actually, and probably increase the cooldown of Big Shade. Right? I think Little Shade should be, because right now I think if Scourge was forced to play Little Shade, you probably wouldn't play you wouldn't play Scourge. I don't think. I think it would be. You'd run out of steam way too quickly. Like people would just move out because the Shade is really small when it's small, like, obviously, right? I think you just wouldn't have the level of area control you'd have, or you're kind of supposed to. You require as the Necro to stop people instantly destroying you, right? But I don't know. Like, I think it's too easy to shut down right now, and it doesn't really have much of a reward for playing around it. So obviously, managing the 3 shades would be a lot more skillful, right, than just managing one giant one. But I don't think that
it should be.
Yeah, I completely agree. But the thing is, I don't think there's any reward for that at all right now. So I think that they really need to look at the other Grandmasters, because one of them is just dead. Like, the Boon Rip one is really cool idea. It's a really awesome idea, actually, but it just doesn't do anything. And then the Torment one is okay, I guess. But it doesn't make up for the loss of Big Shade, really. Like, Big Shade is just way too strong. It's just way too strong.
So how would you feel? I'm going completely out of the blue here, but make it so that in PvP and WoW World specifically, because it would be pretty broken in PvE, that stacking the shades on top of each other would affect the same targets.
I think that's pretty risky, actually.
It's a big investment. It's a massive investment. Okay. It's, the shade itself is actually quite a small radius, right?
Yeah.
It's big investment because obviously the cooldown at the moment, at the very least, is long, and you're using 2 out of 3 of your charges. So would that be insanely OP? I don't know.
Do you count? Do you include yourself in that? So, like, can you get if you?
No. You do not. You don't count. Stacking them all on top of yourself, it would be stupid. But stacking 2 shades on top of each other, like, say, from a 600 distance away, that I think could be quite an interesting solution.
Yeah, sure. I guess that probably wouldn't be that broken, actually. That probably wouldn't be that broken. I think if they remove Big Shade, they should probably reduce the cooldowns on the Shroud abilities as well, though, actually.
Yeah.
Maybe adjust some of the life force things as well, because I think you'll just run out of steam much quicker if you don't have the Big Shade, and you'll be much easier to punish as well. Because the big thought about Scourge is that if you try and attack the Scourge, it can instantly counter pressure you. There's a big radius on that, and without that, I think it would be a much weaker class. And I don't think it's as such a completely broken class anymore. It's definitely an extremely good class, but I think it wouldn't take too much to make Scourge not very good anymore. So I think they have to be kind of careful with it. It could get wrecked. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the other big thing is that, well, I mean, it's 15% damage reduction, actually, Rim, and 15% condition duration and expertise. So, like, or you get a lot of free stats for it. That's 225 concentration and expertise, and 15% damage reduction is about 500 toughness, as it turns out. So that's, like, really good, right? That's half of a rousing resilience permanently. So yeah, that's really good.
So yeah, they need to make it so they need to reduce those buffs or make them available to small shade all the time. Like, just stuff like that as a basis, right?
Yeah.
It's
So I think there needs to be some redesigns to the Grandmaster traits there, 100%. Definitely. Oh yeah, more charges. Yeah, sure. Maybe increase it to something like. Or maybe. Okay, how about this actually? What about if the charges on Shade could all recharge at the same time? If you see what I mean. So you know how ammos, they recharge sequentially, right? So it has to wait. What if they all recharge at the same time? So you get your Shade back 15 seconds. You get your Shade 15 seconds after you put it down again, right? So instead of waiting for the previous Shade to recharge, they all recharge simultaneously, is what I'm saying.
I see. Yeah. Okay.
Something like that could be pretty good, I think. That might compensate for the increased recharge in smaller radius.
Or have an interesting trait that it recharges your shades on doing something.
Yeah.
Right? You transfer a condition or something from you, and then it recharges your shades.
Maybe they should rework the punishments in some way, right? So maybe if you do something with the punishment skills, it gives you a Shade back, right?
Yeah,
something like that.
At that point, it becomes more interesting gameplay. It's more skilled, and I think everyone can agree that Shade is just brain dead at the moment and requires very little skill to achieve something productive, especially in WoW World. Obviously, at the higher end, there is a big difference between a good Scourge and a bad Scourge. You can particularly tell the difference because they're running blood or not.
Well, again, I think the biggest difference between good and bad Scourges are positioning.
Yes, yeah, that was certainly alluding to. I just wanted to meme a little bit there.
I mean, it's just like it's just positioning. If you can spam your skills the same, I mean, there's a little bit of timing, but like for the most part, it's positioning because the ones that are dying the most are the ones that are just standing on node AFKing and thinking they're gonna not die because I don't know, God smiles upon them or something. But and then the ones that aren't dying are the ones that aren't doing that. So again, it comes down to stuff that doesn't really have to do with the class.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's that's Scourge sorted. That's Scourge sorted out the way, boys. But
I think Scourge it would be a good contender for one of the reworks they're doing in each balance patch, right? They've got.
They should patch every spec once a week.
Yeah. They could do one spec every day. How about that?
Every day.
That's a bit silly. Every week. That's fine. We have what 27 specs, right? So that's
half a year.
27 weeks. Yeah, it's half a year. Perfect. Exactly. Perfect. It's perfect.
It works. I can't believe it.
In half a year, the game will be balanced.
Yeah.
Well,
I think what we definitely. I mean, you say this in jest, but I really think we need to see more. In my opinion, the biggest disappointment was how the lack of aggression we see in this balance patch, okay, boys? And what do I mean by that? I mean that, like, come on, hit us with something, ArenaNet. Come on, don't pull those punches, right? This is something that really confuses me. Yeah, I really feel like ArenaNet is worried about maybe community backlash about this stuff.
Hit hard underwater.
Nice meme. But I really think that ArenaNet needs to sit down next balance patch and just wham, let's flip stuff up, dude. This is what they need to do. They need to get their little whiteboard, all right, boys? So, hang on, let me get fucking. I need something. No, can't be bothered. Okay, they need to get their little notepad out, right?
All right.
Just like this Guild Wars 2 notepad I got here. Okay.
Oh.
There's a fucking pen.
Product placement.
What we need to do is, okay, you need to write on it. Right? Is to find a page, all right, and they need to do, like, we need to just go renegade meta, right? You need to just write on it. This pen doesn't even fucking work, okay, right? They need to go right. We're going to make.
I got a pen.
We're gonna make renegade meta in PvE, right? In PvP or something. Like, you can't even read that shit, right? There you go. Look at that. Okay, beautiful. Because the pen is fucked. But anyway, like, their pen would work, right, boys? Okay, and what we need is they need to just do something stupid, or not even stupid, just do something radical. Come on, go for it. You just delete Chrono from the game, right? You log into PvP, Chronomancer Elite Specialization disabled, right? Just hit us with something big, man. I don't know. That's what we need. We need bold changes.
Disable Chrono in PvP. Yeah. You're not allowed to play. I mean, that's what we did. So
yeah, we need bold changes. Make it big. I don't want to see fucking 5% damage buffs, right? Like, come on, give us something good, right? Give us something special.
That is something you got, like, the tournament that we ran a couple weeks ago. I mean, essentially, that's what we did. We banned Chrono entirely, and that's definitely a pretty big effect on the tournament.
And it made the tournament really good.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
so, like, those are the kind of things that you sort of like that we're doing ourselves that we shouldn't have to. In my opinion.
I just feel like whenever these balance patches happen, we see very incremental changes, right? Very conservative changes.
Shatterstone buffed by 5%.
Exactly, right? I really think this is.
500 times.
I don't want to flame ArenaNet here. I really don't. I've got no interest in that. I want to be as constructive as possible, right? Okay.
Yeah.
I really think we need to see bigger changes, right? Either bigger changes or much more frequent.
Or often.
Because honestly, it kind of feels like this wasn't even a balance patch. It was more like a series of hotfixes, right? Like they've tweaked it, right? And like that is not a balance patch, right? In my opinion.
Again, I don't think these were a series of hotfixes. Again, it wasn't relevant. Nothing they did was really that relevant because it was all underwater. And but as far as what you said, I would prefer that they did more frequent changes and sort of smaller stuff. So like because I think you'll get closer to the mark if you do that than as opposed to like doing something insane once every 2 months. And I also think it'll be healthier for the game overall if you did that. I don't think like completely either nerfing or buffing something to the point where it's either extremely underpowered or extremely overpowered. I mean, it's possible that you hit the mark, but it's less likely in my opinion than if you do like every couple weeks there's a few specific changes.
I think that's I think I definitely agree with you. I definitely agree with you in that aspect, but I think that big changes can work provided that you're willing to tweak them if they go horrifically wrong.
Yes.
Right? And I think, I think,
absolutely.
I think
No,
the
wait
problem,
3 months.
I think this is a big problem. This is the problem, right? The problem is that if ArenaNet changed something big, right, everyone in PvP would be stuck with it for an entire season. Right, and that is obviously a huge problem. That is, I mean, suppose
that's what makes PvP
Chrono.
bad. I mean,
yeah.
Chrono's really strong for a while. Spellbreaker was really strong for a while. It still is, but I mean, it was way too strong for like an entire season. I mean, it's always been like that.
But imagine if it's like even more obnoxious than that, though. I'm to think about the level of obnoxiousness of something like the original Bunker Chrono, right? Like we were stuck. Everyone was stuck with that for so long because of how slow the ArenaNet cycle is, right? It literally killed esports. Like it unironically killed esports. Okay,
yes.
And that's not even a joke. Okay, that's not even a joke. And that sort of thing.
Cloud9 was going to sponsor Absurd. They saw Bunker Mesmer. They're like, we're out. Bye. See ya.
So it's like,
yeah. So I think you can make radical changes, but only under the assumption that that ArenaNet is going to be willing to fix stuff if it goes wrong, instead of waiting a few months and then saying, "Aha! Signet of Ether, 50% nerf," right?
Here's a change for you.
Yeah, that can't happen if they want to go in that direction with balance. So they can do big changes, but they have to be willing to clean it up as well very quickly. Otherwise, right? You have to go to hotfix. Okay. Otherwise, I completely agree with Roy in that they should just increase the iterations, right? And
I think a lot of this in general is kind of a good argument for why we should be having a PTS at this point. Like it's. Yeah. I know it's mentioned so many times and so often.
You need to upgrade the current servers before they can add another one.
Well, just in general, it's so needed because like, do you think Chrono would have made it into the live game if we'd been able to test it?
If they listened, because you have to take into consideration how many beta tests they had for certain things that they didn't really take any feedback from. I think they would do a better job now. I would hope so. But yeah, and even if you made it like sort of closed betas for certain players, you know, I think that would be good as long as you had a good sample size of players. But yeah, definitely testing stuff would be nice.
And you know, even if they did invite I think a big argument that they've made in the past is that players wouldn't want to participate. Okay, I think that's very untrue, especially in PvP. Okay, because I think any decent player would be in there. Okay, they'd be testing the new stuff. They'd be juggling all that sort of stuff because I know I'm personally very interested in what they'd be wanting to do, and I'd want the state of the metagame in the next season or the next tournaments to be really good because it's more enjoyable to play in. But in the current state, we can't do any of that. We don't even know what's coming in the balance patch until it hits, and I don't know. I think that's really not good.
A lot of other games, you'll notice they have the patch notes out like a week before.
Yeah. Well, if that's I hate to make comparisons here, but we know exactly what's coming in ESO's next expansion, like all the changes. Okay, and it's on the PTS as well. So like and that's like it's still a month and a half away. Like what is going on here to think it's okay?
Well, PTS won't kill the population if they're only around for like a day or two. It's
well,
not going to kill the population.
I think the uptake wouldn't even be that high. Honestly, I don't think it would be a big.
Yeah, that's certainly not that's not.
All you need is the good players going in there and testing.
One up is right here. One up is right here. Okay. Here's the meme. Right, like the meme is that they should only be listening to they should be listening to exactly Team USA and exactly Rank 55 and no one else, right? And then for PvE, they should probably own.
Okay, no, hold on.
Well, no, seriously,
agree with that because they're going to be.
I mean,
it's hyperbole, right? It's hyperbole.
I know
you know what I mean, right?
Good players, actually good players,
right? That you can't listen. Don't listen to the community response. I really hate to say it, right? Like I don't want to go. Like, I don't want to be an elitist, right? I know I'm toxic, okay, boys, but don't don't listen to what, because otherwise that's how you get Dragon Hunter nerfed into the ground,
When
right?
you,
Like,
if you're talking about PvP, yeah, I think you should balance it around competitive. I don't think you should
Yes.
balance it around the casuals, which, so yes, they should be listening to those top players. With PV, I think it's a little, well, certainly for raids, I think, again, you could do the same thing. You could talk to the best guilds and bounce around that. But, I mean, I don't care about open world anyways, but like for open world, I think you could, you don't really need to.
There are
talk to
changes
just
they
the
can
top
do
players.
though. Like if they, especially if they see that a lot of people are complaining about Condi Thief in PvP, then it's something worth looking into. Even if high level players don't necessarily specify it. The same applies to open world. If they think that a change could be quite good for players, they've got data on everything, right? We know ArenaNet's got data on everything. If they see players aren't exactly playing specific specialization in open world or some stuff, then they can look at that and go, hey, maybe we should make some changes here, make it a bit more fun, make it a bit more appealing. I think that'd be good. But yeah, like
Yeah, you do. You just need to be careful. What Kuro said and what I mentioned before. Yes, obviously they're going to be biased. But that's why you need to. You can't just literally speak to 10 people. You can't just talk to Rank 55 and Team USA.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you should be looking at the top players when it comes to balancing around PvP and
I want to believe, man. I want to believe that if
they balance around money. That's what they balance around. No, it's 100% true.
Wait, hold on. If that's true, I will pay ArenaNet to balance the game. That's fine.
Shit.
I will sell gems.
If they feel like Renegade being complete shit in PvP is hurting their bottom line, that means Renegade will get a rework.
Dude, man, I will give the balance team $100 if they add. They nerf Scourge. That's fine. That's perfect. All right. Every one of my paychecks is going directly to the balance team from now on. Easy. Works for me.
But yeah, I mean, like.
800 gems equals 1k
like Angel was saying, they have stats. Like if they see that literally no one's playing a spec in open world, then like they can balance around that, and none of us would even know that was a problem. Like none of us would see it as a problem. So it's just a type of data that we don't have, and it does matter. I mean, yes, you need to balance around what the top PvPers are doing, but you also need to balance around what the hot joiners are doing. If people in hot join aren't playing a certain class, like that's a problem for ANET's bottom line, like money-wise.
The thing is, right now, hot join players play anything and everything. Like,
do they? I mean, I don't have the stats on that, I don't know.
I think yes, there's probably players lean towards more meta things, but there are. I will still see. That,
there's definitely jankier shit. It's not ranked.
And players running, so I think that if I was a casual player, I didn't watch any tournaments, I didn't watch any streams, I didn't care about balance, which I think the majority of the players, that's the majority of the players, and I would say, I really enjoy being a sniper. I like playing Sniper Elite, so I'm going to role play like that in Guild Wars 2. So I'm going to roll onto a Daredevil and go into PvP, and I wouldn't give a shit what was balanced and what was good. And I think that if you balance around the top players, it's going to remain the exact same.
Until you get flamed in team chat and never PvP again.
But that again. That has nothing to do with balancing, because that's the experience. And Frostball said this before. That's the experience of ranked. It's not the experience. It's not balancing. If you balance the game correctly, you still need to make sure that ranked is an enjoyable experience, because you can balance the game perfectly, and you can still have terrible games.
Well, I'm just saying there's multiple masters here. There's multiple angles. Like. Yes, you have to balance around ranked. Yes, you have to balance around the ATs and what the top players are doing. But, like, you have to balance around everybody in the game. Everyone in the game needs to feel served, because they're the people everyone pays. And
what I don't think that's a real problem there, because I mean, it isn't something that people like us always say. Like, it really doesn't matter what you play in open world. I mean, even though Meta Battle has a section for it these days, I mean, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Who complains?
Don't even mention it. Okay, don't even.
Who complains and who is more concerned with balance and balancing the game? The competitive, like top players, or the casuals?
Competitive players.
Right. So why would you not balance around them?
You do. I'm saying you have to
totally
balance around everything.
You totally should, but you should also be aware of keeping stuff in game that's fun, easy to engage in, so people eventually are able to improve to the competitive stage.
I mean, but again, like that's when you start talking about, again, that like class balance. In my opinion, you should really only think about like what's like the competitive players, because when you start talking about, oh, if I want to go play something fun, well, that's what unranked is for. Why would you go into ranked where you're actually trying to climb? You should be trying to climb the leaderboards. You should be trying to improve. You should be trying to have competitive, interesting games, not just fuck around on some support renegade that does literally nothing. That's what unranked is for. And that has nothing to do with balancing the class. That is a separate issue.
Yeah, this is true. This is a very odd. This is a very meta discussion, if you ask me, and it's kind of
okay.
It's
well, let's bring it back to what Rocka says in chat. Epi not being nerfed. There's a topic we can all talk about. I think Epi's going to get nerfed.
Did you flame us already?
It'll happen.
They need to.
It's going to happen, and it should happen for sure. I don't know why it wasn't in this patch, but who knows? But it's definitely coming. It's got to be. It gets absurd.
Yeah, they need. Yeah, it needs to get deleted. Delete it. Well, no, not deleted. I think the nerf I proposed that me and Brazil proposed something like this ages ago actually. That every time you Epi bounce, it just halves the duration or something. Boom. There you go. Job done.
Yeah, that's very. I've heard like so many good.
Why do you think
ideas.
they didn't nerf Epi?
I have no idea, honestly. It's more broken than Weaver. That's the thing. Like it's way more broken than Weaver. That's the thing. It's easily more broken than Weaver. But they just go, you know what? Who cares, boys? Who cares?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have proposed things that are like really programming intensive. Like, okay, if you cast Epi on a boss, he gets a debuff. That means he can't be affected by other people's Epis. Like if that was actually the solution ArenaNet wanted to go with, like that would probably be like outside the scope. Like that would not be like your normal rework. That's like a more complicated coding solution. So I could see like if they're doing something complicated, why it didn't make it in this patch.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think they could. I think it wouldn't. Surely it wouldn't be too difficult because we've seen this with Chrono Phantasm, right? So a lot of these traits have a hidden 100% in there somewhere. Like Signet of the Ether, the way it worked was it would just recharge all your skills by 100, your phantasms by 100%. So it was easy for them to change it to a 50%. Right?
Yes.
So surely with Epidemic, there's probably some kind of value that says it copies all the conditions with full duration, with 100% duration. So why not just change that to 75% or 50%? I feel like that wouldn't be too difficult for them to do, like under the assumption that it works in a similar way. I don't know.
I like that solution. I think it's pretty elegant. It's way better than all the people that are like, all right, you're going to get a debuff. That doesn't, like, that's just stupid. Like, just something in the skill itself, like the cooldown or the amount of stacks or the duration, like something simple.
Well, have it like a fixed duration of, say, like 10 seconds or whatever for the combis transferred.
The little Epi ball should follow your cursor, so you actually have to move
aim
it around the enemies.
You have to aim. Yeah.
So you can't just click and then it just bounces. You actually have to do it yourself. It takes more skill. Moving your cursor. That
Exactly.
sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah. It's good. It's very good. Fewer stacks for condies instead of changing the duration. I actually think that's really incorrect because the point of Epi is that it's supposed to kill ads, and if you remove the stacks, it won't be able to do that as well anymore.
It should keep its burstiness, but
exactly. Yeah.
Reduce the duration, right? Like it. How long's the cooldown on Epi?
13.5 seconds.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Why is that so low?
Yeah,
what?
Yeah, it should be like 25 seconds.
I'm still like,
but even that wouldn't change things in PvE because a lot of raid fights you don't even cast it. Like you don't cast it on cooldown necessarily.
Increase the duration, increase the cooldown to like 20 seconds, and then make the duration 10 seconds max. Like there you go. There's your fix for Epi. It's a big nerf, but hey, there we go.
Yeah, and stuff like that needs to really happen there. But Interesting memes. Like I'm drawn back to the previous conversation actually between like the dynamic between fun and balance, because something I meant to mention earlier is that there's a lot of stuff. I think the game, as Roy said this as well, the game is pretty well balanced right now. But the thing is, there's a lot of stuff that's quite anti-fun in the game, right? You know, it's stuff like Condy Thief isn't really a problem, right? It's not like a balance problem. It's very anti-fun to play around, right? Like Chrono isn't strictly imbalanced as such. It's not completely busted. I wouldn't say it's completely busted, right?
I don't know, dude. Like, fundamentally being able to share boons.
I think
no. I'm talking like PvP here, really. Like talking PvP.
I think in PvP the biggest problem with it is that it doesn't really die. It's hard to kill, and it still does a lot of damage. Like there's not really a trade-off.
It has.
And
realistically,
it also
Condy Thief has no losing 1v1s.
It also has a huge impact in team fights. So it's not a 1v1er. It has a huge impact in team fights. It's very difficult to focus. It supports your team, and it still does a lot of damage. Like Firebrand, you can kind of ignore Firebrand in like a team fight because it's not going to kill you. Obviously, if you focus it, that means they will have less support. So there's a reason you wouldn't necessarily ignore it. But you don't have to. You can focus the Necro instead. In a team fight with a Chrono, you have to kill it, or you have to run away because it'll kill you. And so, like, that's why I would say it's overpowered. But obviously, yes, what you were speaking about as well, it's just not not fun. That as well as Condy Thief.
Yeah. Some stuff is a little anti-fun, and that is a really interesting discussion to have.
Yeah.
And this is what Nike was alluding to, I think, right? Like, it's important that the game is balanced, but you want people to enjoy playing it.
I wasn't saying that you don't want to have fun, and that's kind of what I was talking about. Like and again, when I was saying you need to balance around the top players, again, like I said before, I do think the game is fairly balanced. There's just a few classes or specs that are very, very very useless or very, very strong, and you need to fix that. But yeah, you obviously need to make sure that, and I think that if more things are viable and better, that'll be more fun because then you can play everything, but it won't be like Condy Thief where it's just awful to play against, and it won't be like Chrono where it's just awful to play against because things will be balanced and things will have specific counters or things will have they can't do everything like Chrono can, and I think that's better. I think that's more fun. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think both of these things have to be considered, but I would definitely say that you have to talk to the top players otherwise you're going to get a very skewed idea of balance. I mean, some of the things that people struggle with. In all the game modes, I mean, I don't know. How do I not sound like a fucking elitist here? Like, a lot of it is just a fucking learn to play issue, honestly, boys. Right? It's just like if you lose to a lot of this stuff, it's because you just people complain. A great example of this is Scourge, in my opinion. Like Scourge gets blown way out of proportion, even though it's been nerfed pretty hard to a point where I'd say it's fairly well balanced as such. Like maybe unfun. I would probably say definitely unfun to play against.
Yes.
But I would say it's fairly well balanced. But people still say it's the most busted, OP, horrific thing ever because they just refuse to play around it at all. Right? Like they just don't.
In PvP, I wouldn't say it's busted. If you can't play Scourge without support, essentially.
Yeah.
It's technically a glass cannon spec. I mean, for the most part, obviously it has a ton of barrier output, which makes it a bit less like that, but it can still be killed pretty fast. It's very, very slow. It doesn't have a lot of mobility, so it can be rotated around pretty easily, especially when it has to stick with the support. So yeah, I wouldn't consider Scourge inherently overpowered in PvP. I think it's more so in World vs. World because of the target cap, and because you can just stack them,
Yeah. That sort of thing, that's why you do need to listen to the top players.
Because they'll say that.
I think people are saying that players have biases, and you know what? I want to believe, man. I think people definitely do have bias, but I think if you take a big enough sample of the top players, you'll have a sufficient number of them that hate the classes that the others play. That you'll actually get a kind of fair.
Also, I think you'd find that a lot of players, especially in PvP, would say that certain stuff on their own classes is pretty broken. I know Sin says he absolutely despises SD Thief because it is stupid.
Double steal. I mean, I think most Thief players will say that the fact that you can have a double steal on SD Thief is very broken. I mean, I think we talked about this last time I was on TeaTime, but yeah.
Yeah. I think I thought the dodge roll mines were completely stupid, and that it was really good that they nerfed that shit. And other classes as well. And it's and I think they wouldn't find a lot of bias. Obviously people would like their stuff to be strong and meta, but when it comes to nerfing the really broken shit, you'd see actual balance coming about.
Yeah. And Lufty was just saying in chat, he said, I wonder where I can learn how to play around Scourge at Angeels, which obviously is he wants you to shill for godsofpvp.net, which is a website that Angeels created to provide meta builds for PvP classes, and also it gives you instructions on rotations. It provides map tutorials and stuff like that, which is really good. And something that I would love to see from ArenaNet is if they advertise stuff like that more in game. Because I feel like a lot of like those casual players and stuff and new players, like you'll go into a game. I had a game the other day. I was PvPing on Forest, right, where you have the two beasts, and they give you 25 points each, and people care more about the beasts than they do about the points, and obviously that's wrong. And anyone who plays PvP consistently knows that. But people who don't, they don't know that, right? So how are they supposed to know that you're not supposed to go for this NPC that gives you 25 points? Because that's pretty cool, right? You get 25 points from it.
And you get a buff, you get a buff, man!
You think instant value, like instant value points, as opposed to the point that caps
you were
the
saying
same
before,
duration.
For new players, going into World versus World, like, it's hard because they don't really understand how the game mode works. When you go into PvP, I mean, and this is certainly for me as well, because I don't raid often, like, I don't know what's good in raids. I don't know certain rotations on bosses, and stuff like that. Like, where are the tutorials for that? Where are the guides for that? And there's obviously a lot of player-made, community-made stuff like that, but it's difficult to find them in some cases. There's nothing really in game.
Yeah, and then when ArenaNet tweets them out, they get like the biggest
flamed,
right?
I'm not saying it's just ArenaNet's fault.
No.
Obviously,
I'm saying it's the community's fault.
Yeah.
Because when ArenaNet pushes these things, the community flips out, and
I would like to see more in-game stuff like that, or at least like
they
links
should.
to games.
They should. They should be also promoting, I think, Twitch streams a bit more. But hey, that's another topic completely. There's a very big, I think, just ArenaNet pushing community stuff in general. Aside from all the fluff art that, I'll be honest, I don't really care about, and that's the stuff. It's just not. If all I see on there, I don't know. I guess I'm a more competitive player, but if I looked on an MMO games Twitter and all I saw was art, I don't know. I'd be a little,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I agree. I mean, think how awesome it would be, right? Okay. If you go in PvP and it links to godsofpvp.org,
I mean, it's not difficult to do that.
Guys, think about that.
Come on, dude.
Okay.
You can't go to that one.
Well, I mean, you can. You'll just be staring at a blank screen.
You go into raids and you load into the
no.
aerodrome for the first time, and a giant bird appears on the screen, and it says snowcrows.com. Learn how to reflect on Matthias.
Actually, hold on.
Boom.
Now, I'm pretty sure it should say MNF. All right, not snow crows. Okay.
Well, I don't have a website.
It doesn't matter. It should still say MNF. Because they're better.
Yeah, we know, Ben. We know that we're not going to link to external sites. Okay, we know that's not going to happen. But I mean, it would be.
Why not? All right, fine. Then you know what? ArenaNet should host it. I don't know, but like.
I mean, there was a
How is that a bad
Reddit
thing?
thread where there was an external site that was referenced, and it was pretty much a big meme.
It's not going to happen because ArenaNet they can't be liable for, like, what if Angeels this one day he just snaps, like he won too many condies, get him, dude. Okay?
Oh, actually, that day is very close. And then it's a lot closer than we think.
And then he turns godsofpvp.net into this like horrific site that just like is ear rape. Like you load it up and it's just complete ear rape.
It's just Frosty stream.
So. It links to Frosty's stream. Oh God.
Yeah, exactly right.
I mean, at least, new players would certainly be learning something, but it's probably not what ArenaNet wants. But all right, you're right. Obviously, that's a good point. It can't link directly to an external site, but I mean, there are ways around that. ArenaNet could host a site. ArenaNet could. I mean, with Angeels' permission, they could,
Hey, you know what though? They've in the past, other games have commissioned some of the partners they work with to do certain guides and stuff, right? Why don't they do that in this game? Like, legit, I think if they asked certain community members to do like a thief guide or an NG guide, they'd do that. Like for PvP, like they commission artists.
Oh, I see Brazil in chat. Oh,
Brazil. DNT.
He's always right.
Brazil was always right. Yeah, and that could happen, right? Yeah, community showcase on the launch. I mean, of course, Blizzard do that sort of thing. And let's not just even draw the Blizzard comparison here. But I don't know. It could be pretty interesting. I think whether I'm not sure if I don't know. I'm not sure what I guess the objection to that would probably be that it might not be to the standard that ArenaNet want it. Like, I don't know. I think they'd probably have very exacting standards. Have to be very, very professional, I think. But I don't know. I don't know. I guess it's why are you guys playing the fucking anime emote? What's going on here, boys? Like,
when next expansion, when build templates are like an actual part of the game, there'll be plenty of room to have curated builds, like as like presets.
You think that's gonna happen?
Yes. It's having played with build templates for the last however many months that Arc has supported it officially, like it's impossible to go back.
Let's be honest.
It's so
dude.
good.
Yeah, it's so good. But I actually think that dude, they view fucking Delta as like an employee by proxy of ArenaNet at this point, man. They just have like this slave who builds their features for them at this point, dude. That they Arc DPS. Yeah, I mean it's value, right? It's value.
Good. We gotta have big QOL things for the next X pack, and build templates is like
no. You know what we really need? We need 9 more elite specs. That's what we really need.
Well, that's what we're getting. That and
I hope not.
And siege turtles.
I don't want more elite specs. Siege turtles would be sick.
Yeah,
I want to run a giant ass turtle.
Please, no more siege. No more siege.
Did you play Guilders 1? Did you play Guilders 1? Because the siege turtles in Guilders 1 are awesome.
Siege turtles, boys.
Those were the best, dude. I would be down to PPT in World vs. World if I could use a siege turtle. 100%.
I wonder when mounts are coming to World v World.
No, please, no.
Actually, I suggested there should be a World vs. World exclusive Doylak mount, and
Doylak. Doylak.
Yes, I know. Shut up. I don't. I say however.
Doylak.
I can say it however I want.
Yes, you can, Roy. Yes, you fucking can. Okay.
This is America.
Yeah. Half of us.
Well, it is in America.
Yeah. That's true. This is true.
Majority of ArenaNet partners here in this stream are American, so.
Majority?
Wait,
it's like 50-50.
I'm not an ArenaNet partner.
You're not an ArenaNet partner, Mike?
Yeah.
ArenaNet won't partner me, boys.
Yeah, because I watch your stream, buddy.
I'm too toxic.
Yeah, dude. No, they were watching your stream and it was like, hey, maybe we should. Why am I over? Oh, okay, never mind.
I'm dead. Fuck. Yeah.
Accurate representations of my stream.
Alright, anyways.
Benji is backing me up in chat, boys. Look at that.
Wait, well, you know what? Let's start talking about legs, boys. Okay, let's talk. You know what happens, guys? You know that it hasn't been balanced and needs to be balanced. Defending stuff in World vs. World. Okay, let's talk about that. Okay, let's get to the World vs. World. Why are arrow carts still as they are? Stream. Okay, chat. Why is this the case? Why are arrow carts like this?
Fucking. Legit. Just, you know what? I don't want an event where they have instant death. I want an event in World v World where there's no siege. Okay, apart from rams.
Ooh.
That's it.
No siege.
Apart from rams,
that would be exciting.
I guess. No ACs, no siege protectors, nothing. You just have that ship, and then you have to go. I think that'd make World v World way better already.
Yeah, probably. I think people would be upset they couldn't hold on to stuff.
And disable the passives as well and keeps and shit. Like.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I've said it a lot of times. I think that defending keeps should be more about being able to kill the enemy group.
Yeah.
Than being able to sit on 10 ACs and press
I
1.
think
but
there should be a defender's advantage. Don't get me wrong. There 100% should be. I think you should be able to hold people off with a lower number than those attacking, right? That should 100% happen.
I think you should just have like keep buffs and stuff. If you're fighting inside your keep, you have better stats.
But I don't think it should be annoying to the point that it is to take structures, right? Like it's not fun to try and do it, right? It's annoying, right? It's very annoying because it's so easy for them to hold you off, right? They can just stack up the trebs. They have like a million ACs.
And
they have
tier
the
3s take you like an hour.
Yeah,
it's an hour of your
hour, dude. It's more than an hour,
and it's not fun. It's not fun either.
Yeah. And it's not rewarding either. Like, it's not rewarding. Like, you think the sad thing is that none of the players get anything. Like, the defender players get, like, an event every 5 minutes, and the attackers get literally fuck all, right? And when you do it, you break into the tier 3. You get the Lord. The Lord has Ironhide. It takes 50 players about 10 minutes to kill, okay? Like, after all that, they just pop the emergency waypoint, they kill you, got to do it all over again. And then you break in again. You get to the Lord. You get the Lord down. And then, if they want to, they can arbitrarily just run into the circle and stop you forever, right? Like, it's just like, oh my god. Like, then they have to control you forever.
Adding the passives to the keeps, and adding the shield generator, and, you know, all that sort of stuff, genuinely made 1v1 worse.
Yeah, I agree. Well, certain aspects of it, yes. I like, again, and I think we've talked about this before, I like the ideas behind, like, guild upgrades and tactivators and stuff. Like, they're not necessarily bad ideas, but a lot of them made flipping keeps way worse and way more annoying.
And you don't get rewarded for taking stuff as well, right? Like, I could kind of see it, right? If you finally, you capture it, everyone breathes a collective sigh of relief. You know, you cap the keep. It's tier 0. You flipped it, boys. Okay, and you get like 1 champ bag. Like, oh, that was worth, wasn't it? Right?
I mean, no one flipped keeps for the champ bag. So let's be honest. But like,
it's so bad because like the second you give good rewards, like the split second you give good rewards, World v World is a karma train. Like,
is it
instantaneously?
Yeah. Honestly, I'm not even sure. I'm not even sure if that's really the case.
It incentivized it more. No, I don't.
Well, maybe on Friday, Saturday.
But with alliances, would it be a karma train though? With alliances, would it be a karma train though? You add end of matchup rewards to counter, like good end of matchup rewards. So you want to win your alliances. So you know you've got that as well, and then you add rewards for capping stuff. Is it going to be a sharp karma chain? Probably not, because defending is going to be worthwhile at that point.
Yeah.
And then you just remove all the stuff that's horrible to play with, like the arrow carts, the shield generators, all the buffs on the keeps and everything, and then you've got something that's actually fun and interactive. It's I don't know. I'd prefer to play that than 1v1 in its current state. That's for sure.
No, you know, interesting. Ben in chat saying that they have considered a no siege weekend, boys.
I don't really think we should like expect huge changes to World vs. World before alliances come out. In fact, I know we shouldn't expect it. And I mean, we can talk about it, but I don't really see the point to think about it too much. Like, you know, I mean, I'll talk about changes that I think would be good for World vs. World, you know, all day, but I just don't really see the point until alliances come out, because once alliances come out, then they're going to start focusing on other stuff, but they're not going to until alliances come out. So I don't really see the point too much, but yeah, whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's not going to happen for a while, but that's okay. You know, I think there will be a really big World vs. World update when that happens, and hopefully,
in 2 years.
I mean, we know that it's not coming for a while, which is quite sad.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's how it is. That's how it is.
Yeah, we were hoping for summer, but
that's not going to happen.
I think there's going to be an update.
I would like to say
about it soon.
Chat is talking
about. I know
about,
for a fact that there's going to be an update post.
Chat is talking about Grandmaster marks, and this is something that I think needs to be reworked completely.
It's a trash mechanic.
It's terrible. It's horrible. Like that system is absolutely horrible. You know what? And I'm going to say this. I warned when the World vs. World community was saying, "Dude, we love Grandmaster mugs." I warned you guys about this. How bad they are.
Talking about the ones you get from PvP.
No. You get the token. You get World vs. World tokens, and these things you craft, basically Grandmaster marks from crafting,
Right.
and then you get ascended gear out of it, ascended armor, right? Okay.
Right. Well, you can get those from PvP.
It's in the same in the
Yeah,
PvP.
you can. Yeah, you can get them in the PvP, just not in the World versus World ones as well, right?
Right.
But
You're saying they want them in the World versus World.
yeah, they just need to rework that entire system, in my opinion. It's horrible. Like it's miserable. Like, I would, even if it was half the price of this, like buying ascended gear by just crafting it, I would still choose just to like craft it by default because of how annoying those marks are to make, man. Like they're so annoying to create, and it barely even saves you money as well. It's not a good system, but yeah, I would like to see some reward overhauls in World vs. World. Hopefully we see that. That would be cool. But I love the fact that we're getting double meme weekends though, and hopefully they add some experiments and nerf siege as well, because seriously, Aracars are no fun, guys. No one likes that shit. And the stupid defect, like it's structural invuln. Dude,
I wouldn't say nobody. There's
no. Like,
talk to some Germans or
dude,
Frenchies.
Guys,
how the Frenchies and Germans live without their
Okay,
cards.
right. I'm gonna tell you guys a story. I was playing Reset this week, guys. Okay, and we go for Garrison. Okay, and the French are there as well. The French, we're breaking into the German keep, right? We're taking it down. No, it's actually Barak. It's Spanish. Okay,
Spanish,
same thing.
Yeah, Spanish. Yeah.
Okay,
basically.
And the French break in
they're
as well.
good.
Okay, and they go onto the roof of Garrison and they start building ACs in the. They haven't capped it. They just start building ACs.
I remember this.
Like, what? And we try and take a tower. It's French. The French build 5 ACs outside the tower, firing into us. What's wrong with these people?
Well, they're shy, and they don't want to meet new people.
I don't like that.
They fire at them with arrows from far away, where it's safer. Where they don't need to talk to you.
Bad, man. It just feels bad, man. Yeah, I think.
You know, like there's cannon build spots, and you can only build cannons there. Yeah. Like, why isn't it that way with like some of the other siege, like ballistas and arrow cards?
Like, that's a good point.
That's not a bad idea.
Well,
I mean, I don't know.
I think the fact that you can build siege everywhere, I actually really like about World versus World. I think I really like that. That you can just kind of build wherever you want. I think that makes it,
I love the
cool.
fact that there are some spots where you could put an AC that can't be destroyed. Like
that stuff should be fixed. But I mean, aren't you forgetting we had a full squad and the French were 20? Well, I mean, no, I'm not forgetting that. I'm just saying it is. I don't know. Like it's fucking AIDS. Like it doesn't make any difference to me. Like I don't know. Like what?
Well, yeah, but it doesn't matter if they were 20 or they were 80, they would still do that.
Yeah,
yeah, that's the thing, right?
Like,
they do that anyway.
That's irrelevant.
I mean, even if they have a huge amount, they're still gonna like fight you with mass AC.
When we say there are people on international servers that do that. There are French players that actually want to fight instead of build siege. We're obviously generalizing and we're sort of memeing, but it's more prevalent on national servers specifically. Well, I mean, yeah, French, I'd say. But no, I mean, yeah, there are definitely commanders who will, when they have even numbers as the enemy commander, instead of fighting them, they'll just build siege. And it's a problem. I guess to some people that's enjoyable. I don't know. I think a lot of people hate it, though. So.
Yeah. To kind of put the Grandmaster thing to bed, they should just remove them, honestly. Or make them, make it very trivial to get them. I think that...
what is your problem with them?
They're very annoying to get, basically. Very annoying to craft. They require 500 crafting, and they're very annoying to make. It's like a multi-step process, and it's just.
But is it? I mean, is it worse than just crafting ascended normally? Because
in my opinion, yes.
You need 500 crafting for.
In my opinion, yeah. In my opinion, it's better to just craft it.
The whole concept of it just doesn't make any sense. That it came about because ascended armor in PvP was so easy to get. Okay, so why didn't they just nerf the amount of ascended armor you got? Like, now you get one piece per season, which is utter trash.
Well, what if they made it so you couldn't craft the marks, but you could so you could only like get them from reward tracks or something, so you had to play to get them, but they nerfed the drop
much better solution than it already is. You should get them through playing as opposed to having to go and get it through crafting. Honestly, compared to other games, the crafting in this game is horrible. Okay, it really is. It doesn't feel good.
To be honest, ever since they nerfed how much level experience you get from crafting, I don't think I've ever crafted. I only used to ever craft to level up characters. Of course, that was before tomes too, or I had a lot of tomes. But yeah. Now it's relevant anyways, but
Yeah, I think, yeah, and as Angel said, you should just get it for playing. Like, slap it in the reward tracks in one that's repeatable, right? So you can just grind them out.
Heck, if you still want to limit the amount of you get 2 a week for completing the diamond chest in World v Worlds. Okay, there you go. That's already better than we already have.
Thing is, they've already limited the amount of tokens you get in PvP. You don't get infinite tokens, right? So they've already got a limit on how much gear you can obtain. So I think that's fine as such. In World versus World, I guess you can. Again, you can only get a certain number of tokens a week, and to be quite honest with you, I'd say not a lot of people complete diamond chest because it's quite the grind, right? It's quite the grind to get diamond chest every week. So I think that's not too much of an issue. And honestly, you don't even get that many tokens, really, right? So I don't think that's a real issue as such, in my opinion, really. So. I think some stuff should be reworked with regards to rewards in PvP and World versus World, probably, because I think they probably nerfed PvP a bit too hard with regards to Ascended gear, and I think they need to buff World versus World a little bit. And also just this the dynamic where defending should be worth more, but also taking stuff that's been there for ages they should find out some way to be able to take it. I think it will happen by default when they add alliances, because suddenly I think people will be much more incentivized to actually care about attacking and defending things. So it will be less susceptible to becoming a big meme karma train, right?
But they also need to make sure that end of matchup rewards exist to ensure that behavior. And they need to be good end of matchup rewards as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's something we will see with alliances, especially considering how long it's taking. I think they probably have some systems like that in the work. And honestly, considering I don't know, every time World vs. World comes up, we always complain about Siege. Like, surely they're going to do something about Siege, right, at that point. I mean, like, that's...
yeah, no one's been complaining about Siege for the past 5.5 years. You're right.
Exactly. But now they're actually changing things, right? Okay, like, it's very easy to be a cynic.
I know.
It's easy to be a cynical boy.
Everyone's a cynic these days.
No, me too, man. Right. Yeah. We had a system in another game that worked on that made taking a defended keep more rewarding than an empty keep. There we go, boys. Yeah. Boom! So that's what I think. Something like that would be awesome, man. I think that would be awesome. And hopefully we can see something like that. I personally, we might have been we've been a little negative here, guys. Like, we've been shitting on the Grandmaster marks. Honestly, personally, I've never liked that. I didn't like it in Fractals either. It's nothing personal, World versus World. I have never used the Grandmaster Mars system to obtain gear. I just get them from when I get them PvP reward trucks. So I don't use it because I don't like it. That's just something that it's not a World vs. World PvP thing. But I am really excited for what's going to happen in World vs. World. Honestly, like when I found out that it wasn't coming in summer, I was sad. I was really sad.
Also,
man. But I am so excited, and I have confidence that ArenaNet are going to do a really great job as well. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Angeels. Hit us with it. Boom.
Nerf Coalescence. Yes, there is no argument for a coalescence existing. It is horrible to fight against. I personally really love being hit for 9k by something I can't see until the segment that actually damages me appears right underneath my feet.
Hammer revs aren't even the worst or most overpowered.
Oh yeah, no, but we've already talked about Scourge though, so I just wanted to mention that.
Whatever. I don't think revs are even that bad anymore. Yeah. I mean, they're not. If you go to NA, you barely see any used. It kind of makes you think.
Really makes you think, huh? Well,
EU always 10 metas bot. No.
I would like to see some. I would like to see some changes to directly targeting World versus World balance. I think World versus World balance does get left out a little bit to a certain extent when it comes to balance, but to probably quite a great extent actually when it comes to balance. I think it would be really awesome to see some changes targeted. I think the trouble with World versus World balancing though is that it's easily the most nebulous game mode by far. I think the meta is the least strict in World versus World probably, and I think it's probably the finickiest to balance, especially when you consider the fact that there's a lot of the time the gameplay is not it's quite casual a lot of the time. You do have some people tryharding the game mode, but a lot of the time it's difficult to see what's actually good because not a lot of people actually tryhard the game mode, if you see what I mean, right? Like, you obviously have the GVG scene, which is where you have the people try-harding the game mode. And there are some big community guilds that kind of go hard, try and find the best comps, the best strategies, right? But that's relatively uncommon, I think. So it's difficult for ArenaNet to actually see what the problem is.
Yeah, they need to... Obviously, well, first they would need to accept that GVG exists, and then I don't think you should ever aim to try and make both of them like work together, because they just don't. They should be two separate things, GVG and World versus World. In my opinion. I mean, I'm not saying like guilds shouldn't raid in Borderlands or something. I'm just saying like you can't really, I think, satisfy both groups with the same sort of stuff necessarily. I mean, you know, a little bit, but whatever.
Yeah, I think it's very difficult to please everyone. I think balancing World versus World is extremely difficult, I would say, actually. Probably the hardest game mode to balance is because of the sheer numbers of people involved.
And the variety of stuff.
Yeah, and the fact that it's not normalized like PvP, right? It's not, you can have any combination of stats, runes, sigils, etc., 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 right? So it's already
Numbers,
kind of, it's already blown out
doing different
proportion,
like
right? Yeah.
Like you can't.
I don't think any of that stuff is necessarily bad, though. They just need to they just need to nerf some of the more like grievous stuff, right? It's stuff that's just not fun to play against.
It really seems strange to me that Bubble is not nerfed, because Bubble has ever since Path of Fire been very, very strong and still very strong, and they nerfed it a bit, but it didn't really help. And it hasn't been touched since. And I don't really understand it, because if you ask anyone in World versus World, they will tell you that Bubble is too strong. They should. Yeah. Otherwise, I don't know what they're playing. But
incorrectly.
I mean, I'm not talking just from like an elitist, hardcore perspective. I mean, I think anybody in World versus World really doesn't like it, whether or not you're a casual or not. So
yeah,
it's very weird.
Very oppressive ability, right? It certainly is very oppressive.
I mean, fights are centered around one ability, and that's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, it should be an impactful ability, right? I mean, it's an elite skill, but it shouldn't be. It probably shouldn't be as strong as it is, right?
Well, it's just like big shade where, you can just bring 80 of them, and like if it's any good, if it's like any bit above average, you can just spam them. And it just gets out of control. Like any terrain denying AoE is just going to be like that.
Yeah, well, especially with how easy it is to capitalize on the bubble as well, right? Like if the enemy tries to push, you can just ruin them by chaining up the bubbles, right? And the thing is, because of everyone being ranged as well, like as soon as you get a bubble on them, and if you can snare people in the bubble with your whatever CCs you have, you just completely end them instantly, right? And then, well, I mean, then we can talk about GVG and how that you just like bubble people out of stealth and instantly kill people, and that's kind of like another giant name on top of that, I guess, right?
How would we fix them? Well, the biggest thing to me is the radius needs to be smaller for Bubble, right off the bat.
More like feedback size?
I mean, I don't know the exact size. I'm just saying it needs to be smaller. It's way too big. There needs to be some sort of like debuff. Like if you run out of one bubble, you can't be affected by another one for a certain amount of seconds, maybe. So you can't chain them as well.
An idea that was quite an old idea, but I think a good idea is something like what if it expanded, right? What if it had an expanding size? So you cast it, and then it has say a 2-second build-up time before, and while it expands out, right? So you could have some time to react to it, something like that.
It's not a bad idea. Yeah. That would be an interesting. It would be a unique ability, which would be kind of cool. Well, I guess no, they have that on Nightfall, don't they? For Gritted 4 and Reaper, so they could definitely do that with that. I mean that'd be cool. There's different stuff you could do to it, and but the thing is, I just want to see them try different changes. I'm not saying like any specific change is going to be perfect. Like maybe decreasing the radius won't really change anything, although I don't know why it wouldn't. But they have to try something. Don't just leave it. I
suspect though that World v World balance in general is kind of on the slab at the moment until alliances come out at the very least.
Again, that's
I think that's fair. That's fair. That's a fair statement. Yeah. Wow. How
there is one more thing though.
Oh, there is of course. Wait. Oh no. What were you gonna say actually? Because I thought you were gonna
healing participation.
Ah, yeah, of course.
You need to get participation on kills for your healing. Okay, I don't mean like reward track participation. I mean kill participation. There is like so many other games do this, and to be honest, it feels really bad playing something like Scrapper and getting no healing, no kills
No
whatsoever,
kills, yeah,
because you're supporting your group, you're keeping them alive, but you get nothing out of it, and that makes me very sad.
That no wonder everyone wants to play Scourge, right? Because that's
Yeah.
the thing you can tag the most on.
Yeah.
But
And also it results in this very aggressive gameplay that's actually really bad because more players just want more tags. You know, it's pretty sad. It should definitely be looked at. Participation for healing and supporting your group.
Yeah. I completely agree. I completely agree. That needs to happen probably. Otherwise, you're gonna have some very sad supports. But you know what I thought you were gonna talk about, okay, is something that got data mined. Okay.
Oh yes, of course.
And that is of course the 2v2 tournament, boys. Okay.
Yes, the 2v2 tournament week.
This is
very exciting.
This is a twofold thing actually, because this is something that we've seen. They had the World versus World weekend.
Chrono and Chrono.
And this is going to be oh god no, it's going to be a PvP weekend as well. They're adding a PvP weekend as well. And
No, it's week. It's week.
Oh, it's a whole week of buff, is it?
Yes.
Okay, so an entire week of that stuff, and that's actually really exciting in my opinion, because the fact that they're willing to, they have the technology now to add these kind of bonuses to the weekends, like Guild Wars 1 star, I think is really good, because this means they can say, hey, look, they can draw attention to a certain game, and people just go, ooh, they just get lured in. And give it a try, you know. I think that's really great. They could do it. They could do it with raids as well. They could do it with fractals. Hell, they could even do it with dungeons, right? But you know, to try and bring that back. But I really like this stuff. I think bonus weekends are really good. It will convince people to try out the game mode, and hey, maybe they'll like it, right? But this is coming alongside a 2v2 tournament, guys. Okay, it's for the first custom tournament we've seen. It's been a while coming, I suppose. I mean, this it has been expected. It has been there was
an arena made for it.
Yeah. So we've been expecting it for a while now, which is kind of cool. So yeah, it's happening, guys. We're getting a 2v2 tournament. I think it's gonna be pretty cool, probably. Hopefully, it won't be just incredibly cancerous. It'll be good. So excited to get heavier people in PvP. I don't know, dude. Like, this is always a really interesting attitude. Actually, I don't want to single you out here, man, but this is something that is really a big problem in the PvP scene, in my opinion. Do you want new players or not? Right?
Yes. Yes.
And yeah, of course.
No. From a guy in chat is saying this, right? Like, do you want new players or not? Right? Is the question I have to ask you, right? I mean, like,
where do you say that?
He says, so excited to get heavier people in PvP. You know what I mean? It's just like, well, listen, buddy.
Okay, but
like, well, for a start, are you legend now? In addition, if you're not, well, if you are, were you legend when you first played? Right? Like that.
I think he's just memeing.
No, like people. I mean, even if he is, okay, right? Well, I'm sorry if you're memeing, but people legitimately say that, right? And you know what? You know who says that? Fucking goldies as well, dude. Like, gold players say that shit, man. Well, hey, I got some bad news for you, buddy. You are the dead weight, okay? You know what I mean? It's just yeah.
Yeah, of course, like, you want more players in whatever mode you play. The more population, generally, it should be better. And I mean, that's a big problem with PvP, but I think, again, you sort of go back to what I was mentioning before. Like, it's less, what's the incentive for people to improve? There needs to be more of an incentive for people to improve. Like, instead of just going into ranks because you want your daily gold or whatever.
Well, is that really necessary? I mean, I don't know. Like, this is
that's why
well, why do you
competitive is really good.
Why do you think these legend players don't want new players in it? Because they're going to make it unenjoyable for them to play.
That's just a community thing, though. I don't think it doesn't matter how much carrot you put there. And I mean, take a game like. This is a very bad example in my opinion, but look at StarCraft 2. Like, you get absolutely nothing for being good at that game, right? You get and it's a much harder game than Guild Wars 2, right? Like, the comparison is insane, right? Like, it's a much more frustrating and horrible game, right? It will make you rage even more, right? But people get good at that because they want to get good, not because they're going to get a carrot at the end of it, right?
Okay. So then incentivize that. I didn't necessarily say gold rewards.
Wait.
I mean,
No. You're missing the point. I mean, it doesn't matter how much reward you add. Like, if the community isn't there, if the community doesn't want to get good, then the community doesn't want to get good. It's not. It's not.
All right, but
I don't think
there used to be a much more. There used to be a much larger competitive community in Guild Wars 2, and why do you think that's gone? It's not. It's not because the community didn't want it, or at least that part of the community. It's because there wasn't really support for it. I'd say.
Yes, but I think rewards are not what the support was. I think the continuous balancing of the game and probably the esports scene was, and therefore I don't think.
All right, so maybe incentivize is the wrong word. I don't necessarily mean give you more gold for being better or whatever. That's not what I'm necessarily saying. I'm just saying you need to support more like tournaments and stuff like that. I think to encourage people to improve on their own, and encourage the community to encourage that.
I mean, this is true, but I'm actually at this point I'm quite dubious as to how effective that would actually be.
Well, all right, but I'm just saying if you have a huge influx of new players that are all really bad, I think that, I mean, yes, they can improve, but why would they?
I don't know. You can call me, I don't know, maybe I'm a dinosaur, but I don't know, why not want to get good for the sake of getting good? I mean, like.
Because again, I just don't think the majority of people want to.
The game is more fun if you do it right.
Oh, I think that's true. Sure. So why aren't most people doing that?
Why aren't most people doing that? Because most
people don't have the mindset. They don't have a winner mentality.
I kind of think it's a kind of sign of the times. Honestly, I think people have. It's not like that. I think the gaming scene is a little more casual. Can I say, right? In general. I think it's a sign of the times to a certain extent, right? I
think Angeels is younger than Teapot Band-Aid Man.
I am the youngest.
I am 9 days older than Teapot, all right? So yes, he's younger than me.
Okay.
Yeah, fuck. And then Nike's like 60 or something. I don't know.
Whoa! Wow!
Whoa!
That's a little harsh there, buddy.
I'm on HGH. Stay young.
Yeah.
It's good.
No, that's good. That is
expensive,
good. But I don't know. I think I don't know. Maybe I'm being over cynical here, but I kind of think that even if you can run all the tournaments you want, but I think it won't.
No, I'm not saying
I don't think
run more tournaments. Obviously, I don't think throwing tournaments at people is going to necessarily make them better. But
I don't know, boys. I don't know, Kevin. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. I think Guild Wars 2 attracted a bigger casual audience, I suppose. I mean, yeah, there is that. Right? I mean, no. Yeah, no one wants to get good for no reward. No one thinks like Teapot.
I don't think literally no one, but I do think that the majority of people don't care about being better than others. I think the majority of people play ranked and they just play a game or two a day, and they're not playing it to beat other people. They're playing it to fill a daily participator out.
And that's the problem, man. No, you should be playing PvP to destroy your opponents.
Yeah, no, and I agree with that. But I'm saying, and I said before, I want more players, but I want more players to want to destroy the other people. I don't want more players to come in and just be like, oh, I can get an achievement point and a gold for playing a ranked game. You know, I mean, I've literally gone into games before, and I'll see a guy playing some wacky ass build in a ranked game in like Plat 2 or whatever, which maybe some people don't consider high. I don't know. And I'll say, oh, you know, that's not the best build you could run. And he said, I don't really care. I'm just here for ranked daily. Like,
yeah.
I mean, that happens. And I'm not saying it's literally everybody, but I am just saying I think that, I mean, to me, it's not as fun. That's less fun for me.
Yeah,
maybe that's more fun for some people.
No, I'm not.
I guess the hope would be if you made the community bigger, that the matchmaking would get good enough to where those type of people wouldn't be in Plat 2.
Sure, although I don't know if there's enough players in the game at the moment for that. Like that, I mean. Like, I think I think there was, and that's what I was saying before, there was a much bigger competitive community in Guild Wars 2, and now there isn't. Like, I think, you know, I'm not necessarily saying you need all those old players back, but you need to replace them with something. Or, well, with people. I think it's the way to do that is the problem.
Yeah, I think it is very difficult. I think obviously if you're drawing from other community, if you're drawing from Guild Wars 2 like open world stuff and the more casual ones, you are gonna get people who are there just for the rewards. But like you have to hope that by baiting people into the game mode with your shiny weekend, if you get 1,000 new players, you have to hope that 10 of them or something, right? Are gotta go. You know what? Actually, I want to get rank 1, boys. I'm gonna call up the French mafia and start win trading. No, not that.
Whoa, hang on a second, buddy.
Right? No. Of course not. We're not doing that. But I don't know. I think it's a difficult thing, and it's a very non-trivial issue. It's not. It's something. I think the community that exists within Guild Wars 2 is not particularly concerned with actually winning, rather than getting shinies. You know, and that's an issue.
Something that I would sort of like. Something I think about a lot is the barrier to playing ranked is to be ranked 20 in PvP. And I know for a fact that when I was ranked 20 in PvP, I was dog shit as fuck. Like I was nowhere near being. I don't consider myself like a top player now by any means whatsoever. I think I'm average, maybe slightly better. But like I know more about PvP. I mean, especially because I've been so involved with like the tournaments and stuff and like casting them. I'd say like how PvP sort of works, and I definitely didn't know any of that when I was ranked 20. So I think there should be more of a barrier of entry, or at least you have to learn more when you play unranked about the game mode, which you really don't at the moment. Because then I think you would see more competitive games in ranked.
I'm not sure about that. I think that's kind of a population issue. I think if you have more players, then suddenly the matchmaking works. Like I don't know. I'm no elitist, right, boys? But like the people who don't know anything about PvP, that's what bronze is for. And that's fine, right? Everyone starts in bronze, right? Like everyone starts from nothing, boys. Okay, even the best players in the game, guys. Okay, started out knowing fuck all about how to play, right? Like that's something worth considering, right? So it's fine to have people in bronze, right? And in fact, the whole point of like I think the problem is that there's way too many people in gold plat, right? The proportions are just not right. There's not enough people in legend. There's not enough people in bronze, right? That's kind of the problem. Like the league distribution doesn't work because of the way the population is, and that's why you have this problem, right? Like this is why you have that issue.
You know what would bring players back though?
What?
Duo queue.
Probably yes.
Like, legit. I think everyone right now would prefer duo queue. Sure, it's less accurate when it refers to ranking and everything, but having duo queue would just be more fun. Like I could play Scrapper and say duo queue with Teapot or something, and it would be good.
Yeah.
I could play.
I had way more fun playing when I could duo queue with someone.
Yeah.
That's definitely true. I think the trade-off is that I think the trade-off is
you condense the community more.
You have and you have a set of some games that are very skewed to a certain extent, right? You have some games that. You're going to end up with people on the top of the league.
Games as is.
Yeah, that's true, but that's because of RNG, not because of direct manipulation. I mean, suppose you have someone, if you have a duo queue of something like Mesmer Thief, right? Like if you're godlike on those classes, you could argue that you deserve to win, and that is true, right? But like if you have this situation where you queue into these two players and your win rate is at 10%. That's a bit of a meme, right? Like, that's the rationalization of why it was disabled. But personally, I think that's probably worth it because think about it. Like, if you've got two players on your team that are really good and way better, like they deserve to win, right? But I don't know. It's a difficult decision, but I think I would probably say that it would. Yeah, we should probably get duo queue, boys. Oh, look.
Speaking of duo queue, do you think that this 2v2 weekend is like a test to see whether or not they're going to permanently add 2v2 to the game?
I doubt there'll be a 2v2 queue.
No, I don't think so.
But there will be probably more 2v2 tournaments. I think everyone wants 2v2 tournaments. Like it doesn't, and if they time them correctly, then they won't detract from the daily ATs anyway, which is perfectly fine, right? And having a mix of both is really good in general for player skill because 2v2 tournaments are more easy to get into as well because you can just queue with a friend and you're instantly in as opposed to finding 5 players. But just in general, I think 2v2 queue would be more in ArenaNet's vision of promoting the automated tournaments, which I think is good. And yeah, like I think it's just the way to go next season.
Who's this Trollolol guy?
I don't know, dude.
I have no clue.
I think it's also.
Why is he calling me a Brad shit?
I don't know. I'm not even sure what that means, to be honest with you, Roy. But I'm sure it's very important. Another thing I would say is that a lot in the same way that a lot of good PvPers come from World versus World. I think 2v2 could kind of be an inlet like that as well, right? Like a lot you go into World versus World, like, oh yeah, this is pretty cool, right? Then you start doing, dude, I'm gonna fuck some bitches up and make a sick montage video, right?
Ooh.
Then you get
Hashtag
banned from
banned.
win trading.
with some house music over the top.
Exactly.
Wait, hold
right,
on.
yeah.
Are you speaking about someone specific?
Then you get banned for
TeaPot?
win trading. Okay. No.
A certain Spanish
but,
someone?
But anyway, right?
Yeah.
But you get, dude, these 1v1 memes. This is pretty good, right? These 1v8. This is pretty cool. Then you start going, dang, I can wreck fools in PvP too, and then that it's kind of an inlet for the game mode, right? So and you can do the same with 2v2 as well, right? The 2v2 is very easy. You can just have a friend. You can start doing the thing. You think, this is kind of fun, actually, right?
As far as the 2v2 tournament coming out, would you prefer 3v3s?
No.
3v3s.
Instead of 2v2.
Because 3v3 would allow you to do some really stupid shit like Scourge and double support.
Let's assume
Double
let's assume
Scourge
you can't-
Firebrand.
Well, hold on.
Mm.
Let's assume you can't stack classes, which I think.
okay, all right.
Well, let's assume you can't.
Scourge Reaper Firebrand.
I don't know, like maybe Scourge, Firebrand, and then Mesmer or Thief. Like, it's I don't know. I don't think they add an extra player on it. I don't think it adds much value on the same way, right?
I don't know. I think you would sort of. The only reason I say it might be a little bit better is just because then I think you could run different stuff. Like I think when you have 2v2, I think there's going to be like one or two things that are definitely the best, and with 3v3,
I guess so.
More things that are better, or more things that you could run.
You certainly could run more variety, but
Also, you have to remember with this map, you're not going to be able to heal right after 2 minutes. Heal and there's something else.
The arena shrinks, right? Doesn't it?
Yeah, the arena shrinks you.
Which is really cool. So that means you couldn't stack supports, or you could.
Yeah, no,
I
mean, it's just a joke, right? But like, I don't know. I think starting with 2v2, see how it goes, and then 3v3.
Yeah.
Maybe they could give it a go.
No heal, no stealth, right? Yeah. So I mean, hopefully, if the 2v2 thing seems to work out and like it gets a lot of interest, then maybe they'll add a 3v3 map. That would be cool. But
I know a lot of people are very excited for it. Very excited for it.
I can definitely see it. I can see it happening. But I think 2v2 is probably the better solution right now.
And it seems like 2v2 is going to come out after Swiss tournaments come out, right? I think someone was saying. I don't know.
It depends. If it's doing data mined, it could be any time. It could be
very soon. Yeah, very soon. Yeah. And Swiss is something that, again, that has been a long time coming. Best of 3 for the finals as well will be good.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, that'll be. I think that's a good idea, at least for the monthly, right? Swiss is after.
Okay.
Confirming it, boys.
All right.
Oh, okay. So 2v2 is soon then, boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Soon
it's
TM.
my dude. So like,
yeah.
Ben coming in with the.
You just got very dark, by the way, Angeels.
It could be in the next patch. It could be in the next patch, man. It could be in the next patch. I can see it. I mean, I don't know. I think it's hype.
Quadruple release.
I'll tell you what. Okay, I'll tell you what. Because this is something that I'm very interested in. I think me and Angels have talked a little bit about this on stream. Okay, Ben P, can you leak to us if there's going to be a crown or something for winning the 2v2 tournament? Okay, because we actually thought that the Chalice, which is the next monthly, we thought that might have been for the 2v2 actually. That could have been for the 2v2, but I'm just interested. Are there going to be? Because we know that there are big rewards, okay, but are there going to be? Remove dishonor. Feels bad, man. But are we going to see?
What's up, Toker?
Some a funny hat or something for winning the 2v2.
Funny hat.
That's what I want to do.
Funny hat.
Yeah,
a unique skin.
No gizmo.
Two guys holding hands appears above your head. Perfect.
Hey,
yeah, that would be good actually. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you could have like the 5 statues for the monthly T, and then like 2 players just like holding hands in the corner or something. That would be sick.
Unique title. Can you?
Unique title. Oh, okay.
Can you leak what the title is?
Hey, yeah, Ben. Could we get a unique title for the UGOs?
Oh.
For the UGOs? What about for the raid tournament, buddy? Okay, what about that?
How many of those have you? How often do you do this? Because we do them twice a month, by the way. UGOs twice a month.
A year, boys.
Oh yeah. I mean, hey, sure, you could get one title.
You need to leave some surprises. That feels bad, man.
Yeah. Some surprises. Okay.
No, I don't want him to tell us what the title is yet. I mean, the thing hasn't even been out yet, but. Yeah. 10 AP for first place.
Whoa!
Nutty.
Dude, no, you know what? That would trigger the community because of like.
It would. Oh my
we're
god!
not harassing
Remove
Ben.
the AP. Remove the AP from PvP titles because
Yeah.
not everyone can get them because they're not good enough. Like, oh. You remember that
There's your
shit?
incentive to get good.
Yeah.
Get your
Yeah,
APs.
exactly.
Get those 10 AP. Get that 10 AP, man.
I mean, dude, I have more AP than you. I'm better. Yeah, I mean, that's it. There you go.
Yeah,
Did
exactly.
not trade this.
But yeah, I think that about does it, right, guys? Have we got anything else to talk about? Anything else to talk about in addition to?
UGOs need
the topics of
finishers.
the-
All right, that would be sick. Anything unique would be sick. I know. It was just something I wanted to mention.
Mhm.
Yeah. Dude, a unique finisher for winning a UGO. Come on, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Think about it.
We'd be pretty
It'd be
good.
so cool. Yeah, I would participate. Not really, but that's okay.
Because you'd be casting. You can't.
Yeah.
be
Can I? Oh, actually, can I? Because I'm now a professional esports Guild Wars 2 caster. Can I have like a statue somewhere in
You
game
can. I tell you what. You can have your name on a panel. You can interact in the
on
game.
a
There you
plaque?
go.
Hey, there are people that have a plaque. You know.
That's exactly why I said that.
Yeah. I want my name on a plaque.
Yeah. There we go.
For not doing anything.
Uh,
All right. I'm sorry.
Has anyone got anything else to raise? I think that's about it. I think we talked about pretty much everything, boys. Oh yeah, of course the Lost Revenant weapons actually. That's pretty cool.
Oh yes,
Oh, yeah.
no, that was sick,
Yeah,
dude.
that was
Alright,
good.
That
That
was
was
the
good.
best part of the patch, 100%. Actually,
Yeah.
no, the best part of the patch was reverting the resistance corrupted to a mob. Now it converts
Oh
to
yeah.
chill.
Oh
which
yeah.
is
That was a
awesome.
good change.
That was a really good. That was actually
Mm.
legitimately a really good change. The miss weapons are awesome. The axe is my favorite axe skin in the game. So
Yes,
thank you,
It's
whoever.
really
whoever
great
brought this.
skins.
It's
It's
sick.
awesome. We got them back. I like.
And
that
it's a
shit.
cool little like, not exactly scavenger hunt to get there, but like it's a little
Yeah.
little lad pops up every 2 hours. It's nice.
It's every hour actually.
We already have Roy's Refuge, but that was named for the dev, not for me. Not fair. I want to
Yeah.
I want to keep named after me in Worldless World, dude.
Wow.
My ego knows no bounds.
Yeah. You need to. Why don't they just rename Stone Mist? How about that? Roy Mist.
Roy Story Castle.
Yeah. Nice. That. Yeah, that
Roy
would be-
Story.
Yeah.
I gotta go cap Roy.
Yeah. Go
Easy.
cap Roy. Oh. Yeah. The Lord
Well-
could be you. They can make the Lord you. Right. There we go.
They'll add the guy from Toy Story into.
Stop. I would
to the
legitimately love
Borderlands.
all of that. You don't even understand, dude. I would just go and stare at myself inside the heaps.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, I think that's about it, right, guys? We kind of talked about everything. So what an intense tea time, guys. Oh my goodness, it was very intense, guys. It was some heated discussions. I mean, honestly, if you're just tuning in now, guys, seriously, you're gonna want to watch the VOD. Seriously, we spent half an hour flaming each other, right? We hate each other now.
Yes.
Well,
He
You've just
needs
been
to get
going
legs.
crazy.
I
agree,
hate
actually.
Roy. I
Yeah.
hate Roy. I hate
I-
all
I-
the
I agree with
I
you,
hate
Zimmer.
all the ANET partners in this stream.
Whoa.
Hey, I've been part of it for less than a week, all right, man?
Do you have server transfer yet?
No.
Oh.
He has no
Any
powers.
I
He has
dude,
no
Superpowers.
I literally I'm not this is nothing it's like I'm very, very glad. Thank you for making me partner, by the way. Like I really appreciate it. But like the biggest reason I wanted it was to be able to spectate ATs so I
Mhm.
can cast them. And if I can't get that, it'd be pretty disappointing. But obviously, it's awesome that I got it and was able to join. I do appreciate that.
Okay, so you know what it's time for, guys? It's the time of the stream where we shill really hard. Okay, right. Let's go. Let's promote ourselves, boys. It's time. Okay, in the top right-hand corner, creator of MetaBattle.com.
Whoa! Hang on a second there, buddy.
No. It's bronze players meet up. No, gods of raids. No, gods of PvP.org.
No, don't put .org because that redirects to Meta Battle.
It's why am I failing this basic shit? .net.
.net. Yeah.
Yes.
Nope.
This-
As
this
you
is
can see
how-
there, guys, the correct link is in the chat right now. Angels, what are you up to? What do you do these
how
days?
to overheat.net.
When
So,
are you doing a rage stream? When are you smashing your keyboard?
I never smash my keyboard. I don't know what you guys are on about. It's my desk, my poor desk. It suffers a bit, but yeah, no, I stream and whatnot, and more guides and whatnot for gospvv.net soon. So something to be excited for, boys.
Okay, there you
Yeah,
go.
no, I mean I don't know what like.
Yeah, no,
Like,
that's
what-
good enough,
I'm
dude.
shit,
You just
I'm
got to
shit.
chill. It's a good chill,
Angels-
dude. Yeah.
And just look, Talem's linked your Twitter, dude.
DeleteSocialAwkwardness.com.
Well,
What are you implying, mate?
wow.
That's too good.
Why is chat so savage? Why the fuck is chat so
Like,
savage, man?
it's not like I even have social awkwardness. Like, what?
I mean,
Okay.
Absolute
sure.
monkeys.
All right. And next along, representing the raid scene, the PvE boys, it is Nike DNT.
Hello. Yeah, I stream and I have a YouTube. Things happen there. I'm gonna have some videos in the upcoming week. My last statement will be buff Power Soul Beast, buff Power Reaper, buff Power Rev, and buff Sword Weaver. Just do those 4 things in the next balance patch, and PvE will be happy.
I'm okay
and
with
nerf
those,
Epi.
actually.
So those 5 things. Those 5 things, and everyone will be happy.
Okay. There you go. So you got all that to look forward to in the coming week, guys. So be sure to check out Nike as well. And then, you know, it's a fresh ArenaNet partner. It's the new blood. He's new on the scene. He's invading everything. Okay. It's Roy.
Wait, Angels got part. Oh, yes, right.
Shut the fuck up, Roy.
Ouch. Ouch.
Your time will come. Don't worry.
No,
Yes.
well, no.
You can go to my. I stream occasionally. Twitch.tv/sub for free with Twitch Prime at MightyTeapot. And my Twitter is MMOinks. And yeah, that's yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's good. So yeah, the links are there, and of course below the stream I'll have it post them again. There we go. And of course, if you enjoyed the stream, guys, be sure to follow it. Tea Time is a weekly podcast, so you can watch all 100 of them on my YouTube as well. So be sure to you can go have a look at that, guys. Oh, we got the Chipotle shell, boys. There we go. There we go. It's happening.
Pancheros is better than Chipotle. I'm just saying.
Well,
Wrong. That's a lie. But
I'll tell you what. If you really like the stream, guys, you know what you can do? You can hit that subscription button, guys. It's in the top right, all right?
Which is free with Twitch Prime.
It's free with Twitch Prime. You can just do it. Do it right now. Everyone click on that button and subscribe. Let's go. Support esports. And, of course, I want you guys to do the same for every single person here and everyone who has ever been on Tea Time. Well, actually, no, I guess some of them...
Someone did it! It works!
Oh
Let's
my
go,
god,
boys.
it worked! Lowest Animal!
You're the
He
top-
did it!
top boy.
Everyone follow his footsteps. Anyway, guys, we're going to host Frosty right now. Thank you guys so much for watching.
One quick shout out.
Oh, do it. Hit it.
To the man in the chat, ArenaNet Ben P.
Yeah.
What a god. He's here all the time. He's in a lot of different Twitch streams for Guilders.
he killed Paul, who used to be here.
Yeah,
he took his place. No,
Yeah.
seriously, ArenaNet Ben does an incredible job. He's one of the most dedicated devs that I have seen, and thank you for all you do for the community.
Honestly, a bit of a shout out to the devs in general, actually, for taking the time to actually. We've been seeing a lot more devs interaction hanging around in a lot of streams, right? Like we've seen a lot of devs hanging around in streams, which I think is really awesome to see that level of community interaction. Like we all love you, devs. Okay, we might be a bit. Might be a bit flamey, might be a bit toxic sometimes, but we really are massive fans of this game, right? And we do really appreciate the effort you guys go to. Okay.
Well, hold on now. Truth in the heart, dude. Gratch doesn't work at ArenaNet anymore. All right, I should.
Garmel, thanks for the sub, man. Boom. Anyway, we're raiding Frosty. It's starting right now, guys. Here we go. Spam some emotes. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you have enjoyed the stream. And yeah. We'll see you around in the future. You certainly won't be getting rid of us anytime soon. It's far too difficult for that. Except maybe Angeels, he might die.
I actually don't know how to leave.
You don't know how to leave? Are you like one of those players who says, "How do I leave world versus world"? Like, is it that kind of thing, right? Like, how do I leave this game mode? But anyway,
yeah, I mean, that's what happened when I went in the first time.
Yeah. Follow, subscribe. Yeah, that's why he plays it so much. Follow, subscribe, and we'll see you guys later. Goodbye. All right, we're gone.